this. As a law society, we are still collecting that information, and we need perhaps you guys to assist us, to assist the members of the public through our toll number that we shared earlier, that is 0800720434. You can get it on our pages, on all social media pages for the Law Society of Kenya. I have had a few questions. I don't know whether the president is there, but I want to respond to some of them. There is a question that was asked about what Waluke is doing in Parliament. We are equally concerned as to why he's in Parliament, having been convicted over, corruption cases. And of course, we know that the case is on appeal. But again, as a country, we watered down Article 10 and Chapter 6 constitutional requirement for holders of public office in 2013. If you remember, we allowed, the IEBC allowed the aspirant then for the position of the president and deputy president to run for office while they were actually answering to allegations before the International Criminal Court. Since then, we have had all manner of people being approved by the IEBC to run for office while they have ongoing cases. And I think it's time to rethink those provisions under the Constitution on leadership and integrity. The Parliament attempted, of course, through the Public Officers Ethics Act, to try and implement the requirements under Article 10 and Chapter 6 generally on individuals we allow to run for office. And I think it's an ongoing conversation, especially on the question of ensuring that individuals who have cases and who have been, especially those who have been convicted. There is an argument that, of course, you must wait for the court to declare that you are guilty of the offense that you are alleged to have committed. But again, it's a debatable question, because you remember when we had the case of a former governor whose quote-unquote girlfriend was found murdered, there were several questions whether that governor can continue to hold office. And again, we call upon these county assemblies. And these individuals create precedents that are followed over and over again that paint a bad picture to the kind of leadership we have. And somehow we take the blame as members of the public for the individuals that we choose to elect to hold, or rather to represent us in Parliament. If we took time when we are going to the ballot, scrutinize the individuals who present themselves for office, look at their character, their previous conduct, and reject them on the ballot, that is a sovereign duty that you have under Article 1 of the Constitution. While exercising it, ensure that perhaps you understand and know the individual that you are electing. Of course, most of our electorate assume that the handouts given, and of course we have created this demon called Parliament. When the elections come, we receive handouts from these politicians and then proceed to actually elect them. And while we do so, we leave out people who could have offered proper representation to the members of the public in the National Assembly and in the Senate. So we have a duty ourselves as the members of the public to actually ensure that we keep scrutinizing, we keep asking questions, we keep referring back to the provisions of the Constitution on leadership and integrity, and ensure that the individuals we have in office do not have any allegations of corruption, because the moment we elect them, there is almost certainty that they will continue to propagate the said corruption within the leadership positions that we offer them. There was a question on what LSK is doing to hold the DPP on withdrawal of criminal cases. Aware the president, and I think she will be able to respond to this herself. The Law Society has raised these concerns with the DPP through several letters that we have written to the DPP, raising questions as to why individuals whose cases are in court, why the DPP would choose to withdraw such cases. Have had even the courts, at some point refused to withdraw certain cases when the DPP has actually requested to withdraw them and insist that those matters go to trial. So it's an ongoing conversation, and I think I'll leave that question to Madam President to be able to address it properly. There are magistrates who stall cases. Indeed, that is true. The judiciary is not an angel. I think, and I believe the judiciary is part and parcel of the problems that we're having in the country today. And of course, as the Law Society of Kenya, we intend to hold them accountable to the last man, especially on matters that are before them that are public interest in nature. We are having that conversation with them to hold accountable individual judges and magistrates who prolong cases, who issue decisions without notice to parties. I believe there's a complaint that has been made in the public domain about a judgment that was issued in secrecy, and those are some of the issues and concerns we are addressing. Even though we know that the judiciary, the independence of the judiciary is protected, we cannot allow them to misuse the discretion and the powers they have been given by the people of Kenya to actually go against the rule of law and be partisan to promoting unconstitutional processes. As to the lifestyle audit of the judges, I think that is a new conversation that needs to be done. There was a conversation in Parliament that all public officers should actually be subjected to a lifestyle audit, and that includes judges and magistrates who serve us in the judiciary. And this is a conversation, obviously, that the Law Society will continue to follow up and ensure that definitely we have proper people within the judiciary, from the highest office at the Supreme Court to the lowest office at the Small Claims Court. I don't know whether, Madam President, you are there. You can make your intervention before I invite Dudley.
With regards to withdrawal of cases, that's a concern that we had, and we have continually raised. Sometimes the DPP citing inadequate evidence, but that is a concern that we have raised, and we said the moment they should make a decision whether to charge or not, so that we do not have a scenario of cases being withdrawn. But we raised with regards to the proposed withdrawal by the EACC, the withdrawal of the case for the former governor of Migori, and we saw that one now taking off again. And we'll continue to raise concern the moment we hear any cases that are being withdrawn. And we will also now hold the DPP accountable as well, because once they make the to be a fair arbiter, because it's also prejudicial for you to be taken through the criminal justice system. You're charged, you put on your defense to respond to charges, you hire lawyers, and you go through all the psychological as well trauma to be taken through the rigors of the criminal justice system, only for one day the matter to be withdrawn that there was insufficient evidence. It's also an indictment to that office if there are more cases that continue to be withdrawn. And we also raised concern with politician cases being withdrawn. We hope we will not be seeing the same, and we'll be more vigilant, as well as the DPP taking equally proactive role, not just condemning the destruction of private property, but to also condemn and take action with regards to officers that have abused the Bill of Rights. So that is something we'll follow up with.
Thank you, Madam President. Dudley?
Thank you, Madam President, for the opportunity. I wish to send my sympathies to those who've been affected adversely by this. And Madam President, there's a particular issue of those who are still missing. Joseph Mwangi Kairu, the mother looked for him for nearly a month, and no mother has cried the way Kairu's mother cried. Then it turns out that Kairu has all along been held at Muthaiga and other police stations. I think that there are questions that the OCS for Muthaiga needs to answer. And Madam President, perhaps we also need to conduct a sweep as LSK of the police stations in Nairobi and around Nairobi to see how many Kenyans are still being held in Communicado in those police stations. I've seen on the timeline today that there's someone who is at industrial area and has been there for quite some while. What happens is that it's possible for some of these citizens to have slipped through the gaps when LSK was bailing out people from the police stations. Those who were maybe arrested later in the evening or held without being booked on the occurrence books. We could conduct a sweep, a legal aid clinic, specialized legal aid clinic for them to try and find out who is still missing and is being unlawfully detained. And to the police officers who've done this, we have about 47 regional commanders or county commanders and just about 100 OCSs. LSK has up to 24,000 members. We need to begin filing the petitions at IPOA in court for individual responsibility. The case against Koome should have gone in by now so that he faces the consequences of his actions. We need to fight back legally so that these police officers realize that they are also officers of while accusing peaceful and unarmed citizens of anarchy. Let's move in that direction, the direction of resisting tyranny, of resisting oppression, of resisting state-sponsored terrorism using the legal tools that we have. The other thing that I wish to speak about is this issue of endgame. What is the endgame? The supporters of the status quo ask. The endgame is greater accountability, greater responsiveness. We want responsible and prudent use of our taxes. We do not want corruption cases being withdrawn from the courts. We do not want budgeted corruption. We do not want citizens who are stretching under an oppressive tax regime to lose their money being spent, in useless things. I've seen now State House is asking back for the 1.5 billion budget. I mean, those are things we do not want to see. People did not die for the status quo to continue. So let us sustain the movement. Let us press from every corner, demand accountability from your public servants. That's what they are. They are your public servants. Let's press from every corner. It doesn't have to end in the deposition of the president because it's shown that he wouldn't go anywhere. But accountability is something that we have and we must get. And for that reason, this idea of recycling, the same people have been there. Professor, my teacher, Kithure Kindiki, has our blood on his hands. How can he still be the CS for Interior? It's a joke, it's a mockery of those who've died. It's a mockery of the Kenyan people. It shows that the president and the people around him are tone deaf. They're not willing to listen. And we must press for accountability. Thank you so much, Madam President.
Thank you, Dudley, for those contributions. We can take more interventions. Joan, you have the microphone. Kindly, if you can proceed.
Thank you so much, team. Thank you, Madam President, for this opportunity. Mine is a quick one, a question and a comment. The question first. I was in a meeting the other day and I had someone mention about Article 1 and 2 that has been used over time to exploit and embezzle funds. This is an article that gives the CS Treasury a mandate or a right to approve funds that have been requested for. And these are funds that never saw them, that were never budgeted for and never made it to the budget draft. For example, the last Madaraka Day, he approved 1 billion shillings for the same. So my question is this a place where this can be challenged? Yes, it is in the Constitution, but what protection do we have? Because now it looks like this is the place where they are all going for to loot. on what has just happened. Clearly, it shows in this country you have to be incompetent to be given a position. These guys were fired because he himself, he said that were incompetent. But again, they're back. Either he's out of touch or to get in this.
Thank you, Joan. Dr. Kasim?
Okay, thank you, LSK, for this opportunity. I have some 4 questions. First one is about Article 257, which talks about the amendment of the Constitution. Now, my question is, it talks of that for the Constitution to be amended, we should collect 1 million signatures from registered voters. Does that article limit? Now, like most of the people who have been in these demonstrations, maybe somebody has not registered as a voter. As if that if I'm not a registered voter and I'm Kenyan citizen with a national ID, I cannot participate in amending the Constitution. The second one, about these other independent organizations, like we have teachers, we have doctors, like in the code of conduct for teachers, they normally say that teachers should not participate in political activities. When you go to the Bill of Rights, everybody has a right to participate in the political activities of our country. So does a code of conduct of a certain association supersede the Constitution? Then I may seek some interpretation of Article 152, which says cabinet secretaries should not be members of parliament. What was in the mind of the drafters? Should we be happy people who are members of parliament, then they resign to take up cabinet slots? Or what was exactly the intent of the Constitution? Then now the last one, about the impartiality of our speaker. If the Speaker of the National Assembly appears to be taking sides with the government, what does the larger population have? Like we have seen clearly the current Speaker of the National Assembly's side portray outright favor to the government side. What do we have as the citizens? How can we address that? Then lastly, if we were to propose for an amendment of the Constitution, like we have been talking of limiting the number of elected posts, what if these people collect 1 million signatures and the amendment is rejected by the county assemblies and maybe the National Assembly because it's touchy on them? Is there another avenue we can have to change the Constitution? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kasim. We can have one more before, Madam President, considering that those are 4 questions, 5 questions, if you're available, you can respond to some. Then I can have Abner.
Yes, you can hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes. There's a number of questions I've noted down. There was a question on, I think, one of the previous speakers in terms of the role of the opposition, where he complained of perhaps, quote unquote, the opposition being compromised. Now, perhaps if I could take him back to when the president was signing the IEBC bill into law. Remember, there was a bipartisan team in parliament that worked on what they termed the NADCO report that was approved by parliament and submitted to the president for recommendation. And there are a number of recommendations that the NADCO had recommended to the president for implementation. It is a very bulky report. Perhaps if you could take some time and go through it. But that's a more political than legal question. But maybe just to delve into it slightly, I think in terms of Kenyans as the role, I think we do not need to have an active opposition in terms of trying to push for agenda, and that's why I think we've in the recent past seen Kenyans go to the street to advocate for their rights and all that. When I was a bit younger, I remember what we previously had was a very active opposition that was in law, where we could find that once you'd lose an election, you'd form the opposition, and you could see something like a shadow cabinet. I remember the former president Uhuru Kenyatta. At that time, they could even have a shadow cabinet just to have checks and balances in government. So that forms part of the NADCO report, where they have recommended that that the official opposition be provided for in terms of the law. Whether it would be effective or not, that is a question for another day. The other question was on the issue of Chapter 6, which Manwa, you delved into it in terms of the balance between presumption of innocence and Chapter 6. And I think for me, I'm of the school of thought that while the presumption of innocence is paramount and everyone is entitled to that until a case is determined, but when it comes to Chapter 6, I think when it comes to holding of public offices, I think once a public officer or a state officer then has a charge in court, then for the purpose of the sanctity of Chapter 6, that is good governance and all that, I think one should step aside until the case is cleared. We are not saying that you're guilty. We are not saying that the charges are confirmed, but until the case is heard and determined, and you have defended yourself successfully, then you should step aside and let others perhaps govern. But that also has been having a challenge, because we have also seen in previous regimes where people who are not quote unquote politically correct then having had trumped up charges before them, because perhaps they've taken a position that is contrary to what the government feels. So it's more of it's a discussion or a debate that we can continue having. Ochel Dudley talked of something to do with the police stations. It is indeed very sad state of affairs. I recently saw, I can't remember the name of a young man who was held at Mudaiga police station for 30 days, up to 30 days. I mean, to me, that for lack of a better word, is torture. And remember, one of the non-derogable rights that includes right to life is also right from not being subjected to torture. So, I mean, that amounts to torture. And for me, I think independent offices such as the IPOA has failed the state and the citizens in terms of their oversight mandate. And they have turned out to be this dog that barks but cannot bite. I recently had a conversation with a friend, and he had a suggestion such as, having CCTV cameras in our police stations. I mean, what is it that happens behind those closed grills and cells? What is it that happens so that a police station can hold a citizen up to 30 days? I mean, that is inhumane. So those are such kind of conversation that we should be having, because Mano, you can attest, sometimes you are sure that a citizen has been arrested, is at a particular police station, but the police officer or the OCS denies that this person is not in this particular police station. So perhaps for accountability purposes, we can front for such kind of reforms, so that we have, I mean, a police cell is just a holding area. There's no secret there. So that for purposes of openness and integrity, then we can we can call or demand for, footage and see whether this person is being detained in that station or not. Maybe perhaps to the last speaker, I only managed to get the last part in terms of what happens if we are trying to amend the constitution, and at some point perhaps the political class then in their way manipulate and reject. I think we are a step in the right direction, where citizens have invoked their rights under Article 1 and are now forcing the political class to have some of these very uncomfortable conversations, to deal with accountability, corruption, pilferage of public funds, and citizens calling for, good governance. Yeah. So I just remind him that the absolute power belongs to the people. If you could remember, if you're a bit, your memory could serve you right. If you could remember, we had push for example, how we had the push for the new constitution through you could remember the Bomas draft, the orange and the banana and that kind. That was a direct push by the citizens. So I'm a firm believer that the absolute power belongs to the people. And if there are particular sections of this constitution that we would want amended, then we are still able to push and have the same heard and amended. Because man was not made for the law. Thank you.
Manuel, just to add on to that, I think I'll just answer 2 questions on what Abner has mentioned on Article 152. That provides for the constitution of cabinet. Someone asked about, a cabinet secretary being a member of parliament. Well, the system of governance that we are currently, the constitutional dispensation that we have right now is a presidential kind of system of governance. So the reason why a cabinet secretary cannot be a member of parliament is just for more or less the same reason. So when you are a cabinet secretary nominee, you aren't supposed to be a serving member of National Assembly or the Senate. And if you are, then I think resignation, has to suffice for one to effectively take up the role as a cabinet secretary. And then the other question was about the impartiality of the speaker. Well, again, it's a legal and political angle to it. Yes, I may agree on some of the decisions that have been, taken, by the speaker, especially the speaker of the, National Assembly. And I think one of the issues I had was on when the determination of the question of the majority party, in the National Assembly. I feel it wasn't handled, well on the legal context of it, but more of a political context to it. Then the other issue, the other day, I think I saw the Citizen TV reported, that is South Olali, saying they have been banned from accessing, parliament, because of their quote unquote role in mainstreaming, the protest and what was happening. I think that decision is constitutionally illegal, because when you look at Article 118 of our Constitution of Kenya 2010, it talks about the public access and participation, and it provides that Parliament, the Senate or the National Assembly, or even both, shall conduct their business in an open manner, and its sittings and those of its committees shall be in public. And further, read conjunctively, says that Parliament shall facilitate public participation and involvement in the legislative and other business of Parliament and its committees. And then clause subarticle 2, which is where the strength of my argument lies, talks about Parliament may not exclude the public or any media, from any settings unless in exceptional circumstances the relevant speaker, could be the Speaker of the Senate or the National Assembly, has determined that there are actually justifiable reasons for the exclusion. So the justifiable reason here that purportedly the Speaker of the National Assembly or even the Senate, by extension, may have picked, doesn't really, fit within the ambit and the context of justifiable reason. So I think that was a political decision that should be challenged because it violates not just, the rights of the media as constitutionally enshrined, but it equally violates the right of the members of public to access, information through mainstreaming of, media when they project the proceedings happening in Parliament, either Senate or the National Assembly. Yeah, so back to you, Manuel. Thanks.
Thank you, Pielo. We'll have Redemptor kindly proceed and raise your concerns. Redemptor, you have the microphone.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello. This is Redemptor.
Yes, we can hear you. Kindly proceed.
There's someone else speaking. So I'll go very fast. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak up. Thank you, Madam Chair and LSK for the work you're doing. Because now it's not a matter of when the young people go to the streets, it's if they go to the streets. Before I ask my questions and make my submission for self-preservation, I'd like to say mimi ni mtetezi, mwandishi na mzazi, and pia mwananchi, so that when people ask why I'm so active on X Spaces, we are living in bad times. Before I forget a question that has just popped up now, Justice Dande in a Malindi court had banned, I think, tear gas and water cannons. And now we've seen the introduction of the orange smoke. And there are theories that it's a dangerous, it's a burnt substance, it has side effects. So I'd like someone to address that. Now, on the vetting, I would like to ask a question that somebody had raised, that when the CS security said he does not know about the hooded men and he is now being reappointed, as an individual, you can be a target if you move to the vetting board and make an objection. Is it possible for somebody like LSK to make presentations about what happened under Kindiki's watch? Because if I say it as Redemptor, I could get in trouble. My other take is just the need for champions for justice in this during this period to make their voices heard more than. There's an echo. Somebody's mic is on.
Kindly continue. You can continue kindly. Redemptor, you can unmute yourself. Redemptor,
Yes,
you
sorry.
can unmute yourself.
Sorry, I've been muted. So the lead.
Redemptor, kindly unmute yourself.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes,
sorry.
proceed.
So I was on the goons. Can goons suspend the constitution? And thankfully, LSK went to court when protests were banned. So I think how to address this matter is when state officers and people who are apologists of the system go to talk shows in the media, they always talk about the right to property being protected. And I think we need to amplify the human rights, that the right to protests and the right not to get killed while doing it. And the other one that I would appeal to anybody who's having this conversation is, I was corrected by a senior counsel when I made a presentation here last and I talked about extrajudicial killings in terms of the protests, and they told me it is summary executions. So I think that needs to be amplified. Now the other one is just two last one, very quick ones. If we fail on the legal end, what can we do on the social end? Is it illegal to post billboards near Parliament or near the police station saying these people are killed exercising their constitutional rights? And the last one is the failure of state to help in the security agents have not, and I'm putting quotes, have not actively participated in retrieving the bodies in Kware. We saw that hulabaloo about serial killer, and I've been following the social justice group in Kware. Even when all these other demonstrations were going on, they were still retrieving bodies. So I think there are bodies that have been retrieved that have not been are documented. And if you remember, my last submission is the spiral of silence. So now we have forgotten the quarry story, and we are slowly forgetting about the others. So those are my many questions, and thank you for the opportunity. I don't know if I missed any when I was muted. So thank you.
We have heard you. Thank you, Redemptor. We can have a few interventions before we invite the president to address some of them because of we are running out of time. Benito, if you can keep it short. Benito, you have the microphone.
Oh man, I've been waiting, Mono, for a while here.
Apologies, there are so many speakers. Benito, are you there? Mwangi, you can proceed.
Thank you, Mano, for the chance. I'll keep it brief, but I want to address, I think, 2 points. And this point was raised by a gentleman called Thomas, and then there is a professor, then Brian International. And I think this is the issue about morality. I think our country is not short of laws. We have enough laws. And I want to make my statement regarding corruption and members of law society being actors in that. And I know you did allude that you talked about people have the right to be represented, but actually on a morality it's wrong. And actually, Manuel, you addressed that question in a way that was very, on the sidelines. I think if you have, Brian asked Professor, why is this man not being retrieved? And the reason is because you have good counsels. The higher the corruption, the more the legal fees. That's a fact. Well, you cannot refuse to take a client on a legal basis, but on a moral grounds, you can say no. So therefore, I actually say that the legal fraternity, they are complicit in the proceeds of crime. And I think a law society cannot just be complicit in that. I think they should do something about that. That's one of the statements I want to make. The other point on the way forward, I think Dudley asked what is the question of the way forward. I think we all support, where we are in the country, but I think maybe there's a place for the legal society to help, everyone to articulate legally what are the steps, that we want. It's good to go on the streets and picket, but actually if there is no clear articulation of what are the demands, then it becomes just, people just loitering around. We want not just loitering, but actually people presenting demands that can be anchored on the law. So I don't know to what extent the law society can help in that. And last but not least, is about the civic education. I think what you're doing here is great. We only have 619 people here. I think the main problem we have back in the country is actually ujinga, it's lack of education. And this is actually why we are here, because we don't educate our people. Back in the village, they are not having this conversation. They don't even know they are right. You can say that the power belongs to the people, but they don't have any power if they don't understand what are their rights. So, and I don't know whether to what extent this conversation can be taken to the barazas, to the village, so that we can equip our people to be able to make the right decisions when it comes to exercising their constitutional rights. So I do applaud actually this assembly and the work that's going on to educate Kenyans on what they are entitled to. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We can have the last question so that we call it, and we finish up. Jos, if you're there. In the meantime, Abner, if you can be able to respond to those questions even as we do the final remarks.
Yes, thank you. Maybe just concern from Redemptor, I think, was about the.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I would like to ask 2 questions. Number 1, quickly, is does the law allow the state to charge issuance of identification cards? If no, is there a way we can challenge it? If yes, What happens when an ID expires? Does one lose citizenship? Again, on that, how can we handle situations where the government services are delayed intentionally with the aim of extortion? For example, a passport or a good conduct is delayed with an excuse that the printers are being repaired or faulty. But if you are willing to part ways with a few thousand notes, it can be processed within a few days. Question number 2. This is directly to you, LSK. Has any one of you ever encountered police brutality? How did you deal with it? Can LSK, with their wealth of knowledge of law, task IPOA of accountability? I mean, we all live in Kenya, and we all see how unprofessional our police are. Must one have to file a complaint to IPOA for action to be taken when they are aware of the happenings during demonstrations?
Anonymous, if you can, Anonymous, if you can have your last question so that we close it there and have the responses even as we close this session. Okay. Abner,
Yes.
kindly you can proceed.
Yes. Thank you very much. I was responding to Redemptor's question, where she had picked up from where we had already discussed in terms of the judgment that was delivered in Malindi by Justice Thande in terms of the police being barred from using, the canisters and all those kind of live bullets in terms of containing the peaceful demonstrators. But we have time and again now see them come up with new kind of styles and ways to try and make it not very clear as to whether they were bad from, for example, using that orange book, which I was informed that does have some effect in terms of itchiness, and you can never know what are the far-reaching consequences. And I think that really goes back to what we were discussing in terms of the leadership of the police service and putting them into account. And I think moving forward, we have already instituted proceedings in court in terms of trying to make the IG accountable for the brutality that we have witnessed, and also, of course, for the deaths that we have unfortunately lost innocent Kenyans. Maybe to the question of these corrupt individuals having advocates, and I mean a battery of lawyers to that effect, and in terms of as a society, what are we doing about it? Are we beneficiaries of such? Perhaps I could just simply say that every citizen has a right to counsel, and that is a constitutional right. And perhaps maybe if we would want to have that discussion or a change to that effect, whether that should be a constitutional right or not, then that is a discussion for another day. But remember, the law is like a sword, in a kata mbele na nyuma. So perhaps tomorrow you may be in a position where you'd want counsel, and then the question would be, do you have a right to that counsel? Because every person also have their story to the case. In terms of the identification cards and passport delays, I think Manwa, you're in a better position to answer that, because I know that there's an ongoing suit regarding that, and in terms of expiry dates. For me, I think I have personally raised my concern with IPOA. For me, I think it's a dog that cannot bite. they have really disregarded their responsibilities, and they are not doing enough. I mean, we have for the last 1 month called upon them to identify these officers that we have already circulated their, they have clear photographs, we know their identity, we even have their contacts, and we cannot have endless investigations. I think as a society, perhaps just if we can remember when we lost one of our members due to police overact, that is the late Willie Kimani. IPOA really came in hand and were able to quickly investigate and have these particular officers presented before court, and now justice was duly served where they are serving their terms in prison. But presently, with the new body, the new officers who are now in charge of IPOA, we are really seeing a lot of lethargy and reluctancy in terms of how they are moving, and perhaps as citizens we can put or pile more pressure for them to act. Otherwise, if they cannot act, then why should we have them? So I think for me, my closing remarks would be maybe to just first thank all of you for joining this session and raising your concerns. We also on our end, you have tasked us with some of the things which I think we'll also pick up. Maybe also moving forward, I know this is not the end to the push for accountability reforms and better governance. Just to urge all of us to, whenever maybe we are called upon to have the peaceful demonstrations, just make sure that we act in accordance with the law that is trying to be peaceful and not cause damage to property and loot and all that, so that it cannot be an excuse or a way to try and end the call for accountability. As a society, we have been relentless, and we shall continue to assist where we can, and support and offer legal services when required. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Council, for those contributions and your wind-up statements. I think we have basically answered the majority of the questions that were raised since morning when we started this process. The question on ID cards and the expiry question is a question that is a subject of court proceedings instituted by the Law Society. We are of the opinion as a society that citizenship can never expire. We are Kenyans. If you're born here and you got an ID card, the government cannot purport to have that identity expire. And of course, we will be waiting for the court to make a determination on that question. It's a matter that we are following closely. And once the court determines that question, of course, the members of the public will be cautioned from that extra expense of or requiring members of the public to renew their ID cards after every 10 years. On the question of police brutality, and I think as Dudley indicated, we, as the Law Society of Kenya, will take the necessary steps to ensure that indeed the officers who perpetuate these brutalities are actually brought to book. We are in the process, and as we indicated earlier, we have deliberately instituted cases in court as the Law Society against the individuals and office holders of those police stations and institutions that actually perpetuate these injustices. I would wish that we end it there, and I wish to thank you on behalf of the President of the Law Society of Kenya for participating in this citizen assembly. We intend to have another one on Monday. We call upon you to continue submitting your requests, your information to the toll number that we supplied on our pages, the Law Society of Kenya page. If you feel you have information that can assist us protect people's rights in form of people being held or incarcerated beyond the 24 hours, people who have been abducted. We'll continue to do the habeas corpus applications and request that these institutions take personal responsibility for those violations. I would wish that we leave it at that, and thank you so much. We hope to have these discussions as we go forward. I wish to appreciate the advocates who have been in the forum and answering the questions and interventions that have been raised by the members of the public and the different experts who have participated in this process. Thank you and enjoy your afternoon.
As the diaspora is to see how we can help you guys organize yourselves so that you can have a structure. I know you guys strategic plans, and we are also cascading the information to you guys, and you guys are holding them accountable to find out why they haven't implemented some of the projects, because they should have short-term projects, mid-term, and the long-term projects. Yeah, I think that's pretty much what I'm thinking in terms of tackling everything, because you have to have solutions whereby if Ruto steps down, how do we enter real quick to develop our country? Because we're going to experience famine probably in the next 7 years because of the war in Ukraine. So how can we prepare ourselves? All jump in now to developing ourselves, and I'm saying that because Bondo, if I was able to come in and bring development within our home within 7 days, I was able to, plant trees and do all that stuff, then I believe all these governors and MPs, they are capable. If they cannot do it, then we should have people who are kind of street smart and are ready to develop the country immediately. Because most of the times you'll find all these people who have titles of doctors and all that, they don't end up doing what is expected. What we need is the person on the ground to feel a change within their lifestyle within a short period of time. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, it does. So, what part of Bondo are you in?
I'm in Sakwa Bondo by the Yala River.
All right.
Yep,
All
yeah.
right.
But farming is everything. I know people in Kenya, they might find it hard, but we have so much land that we are not utilizing, and we can do so much. We can do so much with farming. So if the Gen Zs, you guys can decide to make your hands dirty and just do farming, wale watu wenye wako na maushago and all that, that land is not being utilized. So in the back end, you guys can start preparing yourselves because it's going to get worse everywhere, including at Hapa America, where people have been having global meetings, njaa inakuja, because Ukraine ndio ilikuwa ina supply the entire world food. So we are going to fall in a crisis. So at the same time as people are pushing for change, there should be other people in the back end who are moving so that we are moving in a synchronized manner, where even if as diaspora, we can support with reading policy and kind of pushing in those documents where we can help you guys come up with recommendations and all, then it will make a difference where everything will just kind of work out and we won't be at a standstill. Things will still be moving. Hope that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. Mzalendo?
Thank you so much, Ayo. I would like by saying this, a unity call that a people united shall never be defeated. A people united shall never be defeated. A people united shall never be defeated. Guys, members, the only thing that will make Ruto, as the hashtag goes, Ruto must go. The only thing that will take Ruto out is the masses. Masses. I have seen KOT has done a lot of work today. He has applied a lot of things. Now let us, if we are occupying, let us occupy in masses. Let us occupy in masses. Like last Tuesday, I was seeing in town, it was like the forces were many than others, than the demonstrators. If we are occupying, let us occupy how we people of Kitengela occupied. Let us occupy venye sisi wa Kitengela tulioccupy paka tukawalemea, wakaita usaidizi Athi River, wakaita usaidizi Isinya, siji wapi, lakini bado hawakutoboa. Sababu gani? We were out in numbers, we were out in masses. Wakashindwa wafanye nini? So if we are occupying, let us occupy in numbers. Kitu ingine, tusiache hasira nyuma. Kenye ilileta French Revolution ilikuwa ni hasira. Kasirika na kila kitu Ruto amekufanyia. Kama mimi kenye Ruto ananiudhingi nayo zaidi ni housing levy. Nakata housing levy, bibi yangu anakata housing levy. Kwani hiyo kitu anytime I remember the housing levy deduction, na siku ya maandamano na raukanga mbaya sana, na kesho na jana yake nakuaga nimejaza sick off ama nimejaza kitu ninaenda mahali. I always feel ama hiyo siku nasemaga kwetu ni kubaya, nimeshikwa kwa barabara siwezi make. Tafuta kenye Ruto anakukasirisha nayo, toka na hiyo hasira. Mimi utokanga na hasira ya housing levy. Hasira ya pili natokanga nayo ni hasira ya NSSF. Uhuru alikuwa ananikata NSSF ya 200, ananiacha vizuri nilishe familia yangu, lakini Ruto ananikata NSSF ya 2160. So he claims that he's saving for me na familia yangu ilale njaa. When I think of those two things, natokanga na hasira. Na hasira ya mwisho, for in the honor of the fallen 51 soldiers, toka na hiyo hasira. Try to imagine if it was your brother, if it was your sister, if it was your uncle, if it was your husband who is a breadwinner, ndiye ameshutiwa. So in the honor of those fallen soldiers, tutoke nje na hasira. Na kitu ya mwisho, for the sake of social justice in Kenya, Ruto must go. For the sake of better governance in Kenya, Ruto must go. For the sake of a brighter future for our children, Ruto must go. To end tribalism in Kenya, Ruto must go. To clean up the nation, Ruto must go. To end corruption, Ruto must go. To demand for accountability, Ruto must go. He just has to go. Alafu ayo, kitu ingine, Ruto, the next bombshell Ruto is going to throw to us is the return of chief cabinet secretaries, whom he, in his first press conference, he said he has suspended them. Remember, the cabinet ministers alisema amewadismiss na amewarudisha, na wale wenye alisuspend atafanya nini? He will return them and show us the middle finger. Fanyeni kenye mtafanya, kwani mtadu. Jana nimeona office ya first lady inasema inataka 571 million kupay off workers. What bullshit is that? Kwani ya watu wanalipwa nini? Kwani walikuwa wamekaa miezi 10 hawajalipwa? Why require 571 million to pay? Kwani ni watu wangapi? Tunabebwa ufala, na sisi sote venye tuko hapa sisi ni mafala na tuko na ujinga, na hiyo ujinga inafaa tutoe. Tutoeni ujinga, tuweke makasiriko mbele na tutumie masses. Ruto must go. Thank you Ayo and Afrocentric. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Afro, are you there? Afro? Afrocentric. Afro is away from his phone.
Ako mbali na simu kama kawaida yake. I think mumekuwa hapa for long, eh?
Afro, hebu patia Wanyama co-host. If you're anywhere around your phone, please send the co-host to Wanyama. But Wanyama, I've sent you the microphone. Just accept it. Meanwhile, let's hear from Achesa. No, not before Achesa. Let's hear from Axe Global. Sorry, Achesa, you come after Axe Global.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ayo. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for this opportunity. I've been listening, and guys, let me tell you, we're in the right cause. But what I can echo is this: we are dealing with a system that has always been there, and it's a system that has two major branches. We are dealing with the internal system, and we are dealing with an international system, the external system. You understand, and we have to counter at all cost. And this internal and both external and internal system that we are dealing with, as much as we are looking for good governance, which is our main cause, because there's many other causes, our main cause is good governance. That's what we demand, accountability and everything. These guys, they have their own game cards. They have their ways of dealing with things, you understand? For me, I call them the algorithms of control, you understand? These guys, they'll try whatever it takes to undermine this this cause, whatever we are pushing for. And they're both using the same playbook. You know, if you look through how Ruto came into power, it's something like, if you really understand it deeper, you'll see the same thing he used is now what he's using into us, you understand, to counter us. And if you're careful, I know we are here to educate each other. There's a speaker who talked about this international body, the IMF, you know, having some sort of indictment, these big corporations, you understand. And these guys, they have some stuff, if I can echo, is I call them the algorithm of control. The first thing they're going to do, and these are things that are already playing out, and I want to educate you on this. Number one, they do what you call, they undermine the media, the people's faith in media. You understand? So that people can doubt the very nature of the truth that the media is exposing. Right now, if you are careful, you are seeing everything going around Citizen TV, Occupy Citizen TV, which is state-sponsored hashtag, which is they're pushing, using the government bloggers. Why? Because they have seen, like, of all the medias, I'm not saying all medias are good. I'm not saying actually medias that are kuna shida na sisi, but wakiona they are not playing with the tune, they start talking, they undermine them, so that people start doubting, like, Citizen is the best. That's one thing, they control you. Another thing they're going to do is they're going to polarize, like, a faction in the society. Like, they create division. These people, they thrive in division. So how do they do it? They start bringing things like, now we have politicians against Gen Z, you understand? Now we have, like, these rich people versus poor people, middle class versus poor, middle class. Hizi maandamano mtakuwa zinasikia tu, like, Gen Z skize wazazi zenu. They bring that analogy of something like there's division, like Gen Z are on their own, you understand? And when they bring this, when people stop seeing the other side as humans, you know, what happens? The human rights, they ride on that. That's what I was gonna feel like, we need to protect the police, our policemen, they're doing their job, you know. So they justify the right to shoot and to kill, things like that. So mtaona, like, kuna ya kuendelea na hizi maandamano, because kama kuna goons wame infiltrate, it's no longer about us, you understand? The way they're coming in. Another thing that they're going to do is to marginalize the someone, like, let's say, I'm using an example, like Okiya Mtata, Gina Jimmy, expose here, the audience debt, everything. After that, once they've done that, what does the government do? They come up with a poster and put them, these are the real enemies, these are the people who don't want to work, you understand? So they make them look useless. The people, they try to bring, like, they're the face of the demonstrations, you understand? And then they do what? They undermine them, they make them insignificant, start doubting them. What happens to them? Why can't you see them in the mandamanos? Why can't you see them in the street? You understand? Then from there, utakuwa like, manze. And when people stop listening to the experts, what happens? They become malleable. What's the meaning of malleable? They become easily controlled. They're like, you become sheeple, like you're the sheeps. They'll do whatever it takes. So that's why they always push for have leaders. Come up with the leader so that we can communicate. Is that the last thing you need? You don't need a leader right now. The moment we come up with a leader, they're going to fight that leader. They're going to make your revolution looks being useless. Why? Because the leader that you're going to choose, for now, we push, we move as a team. I think this is now for the international body. They apply the same thing. They identify a candidate, in the presidential, because these are the guys who run it. They have once they identify a country like Kenya and they know they have an interest in it, what do? They identify that candidate, and that candidate lazima kuwe ni mtu charismatic, mtu smart. If you look at Ruto is a smart guy, na mtu anasema si smart, that guy is smart and he's so charismatic, but he's easily controlled. If you look at the new CSS when you introduced, those are not the guys internally who those are the people who supported him. So he had to obey, dance to their tune, you understand? And the international that helped him with the manipulating the IBC system, the servers, and all that, he has also obeyed, dance to their tune. So if you look at how Ruto came into power, he used this polarization fashion in that all along to make he used the dynasty. Oh, now we're fighting against the dynasty, bottom up, things like that. You understand? The tribalism, those are the politicians. That's what they do. So if you're going to dance into this, why are we talking about all this? So that you know. Mind tuned, you know what they are going to use, and once you know their game, trust me, you'll remain focused. So nikimalizia, this Tuesday I'll be there, and I'll take my friends and we'll be there. You understand? They'll try, of course there will be casualty and all that, try keep safe, but numbers is everything. We need numbers. Encourage your fellow men. This revolution can stop. Thank you so much.
Asante sana. I want to pass the baton to Wanyama to co-host for a while I get something to eat and get myself cleaned up. Wanyama, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Ruto must go.
Kabisa.
Ezekiel, how are you? Ruto must go.
Kazi safi. Thanks so much, Ayo. Thanks to you guys, manze. Nimekuwa hapa since the beginning, and it's a pleasure seeing these spaces running over and over and over. To anyone listening in, manze, ni nini mnafanya tunaendelea na kazi hii. Kiswahili ni ngumu, guy. Kazi huu ama kazi hii. This whatever we choose. Remember, mtindo ni ule. Let's keep the conversation going for an hour or two more. Then later we should be joining Polo Kimani space to see what is happening in the mining industry. Hiyo inaanza saa 2 because whatever we get information, we flow, because this is the only weapon we have. Tulisema spaces ni sacred places. Now we will be at all times trying our best to push what we can. Information ikikuja tunasukuma. And be an active person. As you are in these spaces, be an active participant. So kitu ya kwanza cha kufanya, we chapa retweet about the space. Let's get as many comrades as possible into this conversation. Kitu ya pili, request for the mic. Niko hapa na kila mtu atapata dakika tatu tukisonga hivyo. Unagonga tatu muhimu ukisonga, unagonga tatu muhimu ukisonga, hivyo. Whenever we get someone who can give us an expert opinion as well, tunamleta into the space, because sisi wajinga pia lazima tusome hapa kule. You don't need to also be an expert to join the conversation. Just join and say what you feel, what you think. Whatever has been said, let's try not to repeat, because nimegundua tunaweka time mingi into these spaces for repetition. Try as much as possible, because paya wengine chance wanaweza kuwa na kitu mgeni sana ya kusema. Lastly, as we continue the conversation, remember to follow the host, that's Afrocentric. Follow us, the co-host as well. because we also host spaces in different ways. I mean, not different ways, different times. That was a slip of the tongue. Different times. My name is Wanyama Wafula, and the other co-host is Ayo, the sixth. Amechoka, but at least ameshikilia. So let's keep the conversation going. Sioni number of requests to the mic increasing. Please, bonyeza your mic. It's the microphone on your left. Bonyeza. Let it come. Niko na 54. Push it to 100. Yes, the number is increasing. Unaona hiyo icon on the left of the space hapo chini, bottom left. Bonyeze. Ukishabonyeza itakuonesha green tick. Kishakuonesha green tick, we have some etiquette. Tunangoja mtu akidrop hapa naongeza, like that. That's how the queue keeps going. I can only accept 12 speakers at a time. Until then, asanteni sana kwa kuuliza for the mic. See you on top here as you offer your opinion. Mzalendo, had you spoken?
Yes, Wanyama, I have spoken, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sasa drop to the listeners panel tupatie watu wengine mic spaces. Achesa, had you spoken?
No.
Wanyama, I'm gonna.
Wanyama.
Yes, Achesa.
Thank you very much for this another chance. I've been to another. Bado sikuwa nimeongea.
Okay. Sawa, dakika 3 up to nitafungua mic to. Yeah, leo sitaki kutumia time. I'll just tell you to land. So twende kazi.
Thank you. I'll be very strict to 2 to 3 points. One, there's 2 last speakers wenye walisema kitu muhimu sana. Kuna speaker mwingine alisema we occupy even schools. In fact, huyo jamaa nampatia 100% tick. When we say bring each and everything stand still in the whole country, total shutdown, mpaka huko. Wacha watoto wasiende shule, so that the government knows that we are annoyed. That one, nobody should not reject it. Because as much as tunasema tunaenda JKA, kuna wengine inafaa waende occupy schools. Stage za mabasi, hakuna kuboard bus, sijui zinafanya operation. No, everything stands still. Yesterday, wale jamaa matatu walikuwa wameshapatia the governor a warning of 7 days. Kwa sababu ya mambo ya roads levy increase. We are not going to wait that. Tuesday, nayo. The other thing, when tulikuwa occupy the parliament, it was very clear. Someone gave us a map, a rough map. The same map I've had one of the speaker, that is Eve, akisema kuhusu ukipita pale Utawala, kuna kapanya route kako pale you can occupy. There is another panya route at Cabanas. That's what we are going to use. Na ile jeshi ya Kitengela, we ensure that everything wamepata. Kama ni maji, we need to supply water for them. Wale watu wako abroad, kindly, it's our prayer, occupy hizo embassies. Let them know that we are getting annoyed. Now this thing, haisimami every day. In fact, someone told us that, in fact, inafaa to hold 1 week, full 1 week. And someone should not inflate this. Wale guns tafadhali, don't musikuje mukaguza kitu ya mtu. Sisi tuko na aim yetu. We are tired na tulisema mambo ya kurecycle. We don't want recycle. We want fresh faces. Baba Shalin is true, is a liar. He was trying just to play around with our mind so that tuone jinsi watakuwa na pressure gani. Hatusimami nayo. The last week we had a space yenye tulikuwa tunasaidia wasee na maji and so on. Kindly, Tuesday asubuhi, Afro na wale wengine na Wanyama and so on. Kama mutahitaji maji and so on, tell us na mbio, teke. We should not waste. Hii time tuta waste on Tuesday to hold another space by latest 6 in the morning ama 7 tushachomoka. Thank you very much.
Asante sana Chesa. Asante for keeping time. Right on time, 3 minutes. Hakimu Andrews.
Yes, sir.
Hebu chukua dakika 3.
Oh, thank you very much. I want to begin by saying that goons, because that is the way the politicians operate, they will be unleashed. And therefore, we must, moving forward, when we see them, we should disarm them immediately and greet them, not to kill them or harm them, but we give them some small greetings, because they can never be as many as the Gen Zs. So we can never fear goons. Going forward, expect that the political class will unleash them to counter our means, for demonstrating. 2, there's somebody who said that he lives in the, I don't know, UK, and he was trying to show citizens in the UK the money that they give to Kenya, it goes to the billionaires. Maybe it is just a suggestion that I have. Going forward, I think if you can tell those people, because if you are in contact with them, tell them maybe to change their funding model. If at all they have to fund Kenya, if they have to give aid, let them change their funding model and focus on grassroots organizations, because these are the organizations that will directly impact lives of people here in Kenya. Then 3, I want to say that Gen Zs didn't die so that members of ODM can be appointed into cabinet. I saw you, Wanyama, saying that it is obvious that the remaining 11 slots maybe are meant for members of the ODM. They just want to see how we will behave so that they announce them. At worst, these are my sentiments, because we have been saying, oh, this president go, he fails to go. At worst, if he doesn't go, these 11 slots should be given to Gen Zs. Musalia Mudavadi went into cabinet at the age of 28 years. And the Constitution of Kenya 2010 says that a youth is anybody below the age of 35 years. We have so many people qualified, educated, experienced, who can actually serve. Because these guys who are going to be appointed in cabinet, some of them were governors. They looted their countries dry, and there's nothing that they can show. They went for 2 terms, 10 years, and they cannot show anything. They want now to go to cabinet and continue milking, the national coffers. That is very wrong. So I want to say, going forward, we must be very objective. Let us not occupy schools. Those are Generation Alpha. We do not have anything bad with them. We wish them good. We want them to acquire education. Let us not occupy schools. Let us give them an opportunity to learn. If we must occupy, let us paralyze roads, occupy roads, make sure that there's no movement. If there's no movement, people will not go to work. They will not collect revenue. They will feel the pain. And let me tell you something, they will act. But thank you. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I love the passion. I love how it was going. Keep the same energy yenye Hakimu ameweka hapo hivyo. Mariam, I see you here. Mariamu. Dada vipi? Mariamu, Wairimu.
Yes, Wanyama. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. 3 minutes.
Okay, no, I won't even need 3 minutes. First, because I do have a very honest question that I wanted to ask you. I was hoping you come up, and I'm happy you're the one who's here. So my question to you, Wanyama, is: do you think we are communicating to the country and to the president clearly on what our grievances are and what we need to be done?
Thank you. This requires me now to be like, I wanted it to be a relaxed pace in to speakers as they continue. Now, I take sides in most of the things that happen in the country. Now, one of them is I had to come out openly to say that the president does several things. One is for him, let me actually focus on the only one thing, which is his JD, is to be an ambassador for the country. That's his purpose. That's his sole role, being an ambassador for the country. This, take it like being an ambassador in diaspora, but this is an ambassador for home with some power and alignment powers. Now, when you're an ambassador, there are several people that actually surround you, from economic advisors, etc., etc. The communication team, and he was right to actually blame his communication team, because they have taken that role as solely to become like, oh, communication is one way. Communication is like only what Ruto tells the Republic or what he wants to communicate. His communication team is supposed to actually take it in as well, like watch what is happening. To some extent, it can be pushed to the part of propaganda. Propaganda on its own, Mariam, cannot work if it is one-sided. That's why it came to some point watu walianza kushukia the word propaganda. Propaganda is not really bad. It just depends on how it is being used. In this instance, I think the president is, one, either getting what we are saying clearly, it just doesn't resonate with him. And you can clearly see from Chenye amefanya jana. Clearly, you can't be deaf. Even hata watu wenye walikuwa pro Ruto, mimi mnajua I voted for Ruto na nili apologize. Nimekuwa attacked severally for that. I did. Because at that time, what was the option? But saizi, watu wameanza kuchange. Si hata saizi, ilianza kitambo. If it gets to this point where hata Ahmed Nasir anakubali that there is probably a problem with Ruto, if he gets it wrong with the cabinet, then we can only go with option one, which I've given is it just doesn't resonate with whatever he does. Option two is maybe his communication team is not putting it directly to them. It's not. So needs option Billy too. At the moment, we don't know, but my insistence is it at this point, it does not matter what he does. It matters what we do as Kenyans, because clearly from time to time, ameshindwa cha kutufanyia sisi, because we can't keep asking over and over and over and over. Kila mwaka tafadhalini, kila mwaka turudi barabara ati occupy MOH. Ndio interns wakwe posted. Do we have to go to the streets every year for the teachers to get TSC options? Na tumesahau walimu sana. I need to host a space on that one as well. So, I don't really know. It just matters. The only hope we need right now is we have to do something. Because if we let it go, we will never get such a chance again. Na tunakuwa wazee, to be honest. One less than a minute, Maria. We need to give people the mic. We keep this moving. I see your hand up. I don't want it to be a
Wanyama,
monologue.
I didn't even utilize my 3 minutes, but thank you for your answer. So, the next, you've answered that question well, but very quickly, I wanted to say this. You know, this is not a struggle between Mwananchi and Ruto. This is a struggle between Mwananchi and the system, because we all know that all presidents are presidents because they've been put there by the system, and that's why you see him struggling with firing some of the CSS, because they're the ones who put him there. That's what the system means. Those are the system. And the reason why I asked this question, are we communicating clearly to number one, Mwananchi, and number two, to the president, is because with time, you'll notice that we lose the goodwill of the Mwananchi because they don't understand the message Ruto must go, for example. If you ask anyone what they mean by Ruto must go, you'll get very many different answers. Some people will tell you Ruto haendi anywhere because there's no president who will ever step down. Another one will tell you we need the parliament to do it, but again, he has bought most of the parliament. And then some people will tell you that when we say Ruto must go, what we are trying to tell you is that we need to kind of have an overhaul of the system, you know, to get rid of the people who are the bad apples. Everyone has a very different interpretation of Ruto must go. So that when it goes down to the Mwananchi, They are not understanding what your message is or what our message is. And that's why you're seeing we are losing their goodwill very fast. And the moment you lose the goodwill of the Mwananchi, then the struggle is dead. So what I wanted to say, Wanyama, is it's very important for us to, number one, know exactly what we want. We must package our message very clearly so that even the Mwananchi who is not on Twitter or X will understand what the struggle is all about. We can't leave we can't leave it to everybody's interpretation. Number two, the president must understand what we want because, for example, when you told him we don't want the CSs, aliwafire, and then we were in the streets the next day or 2 days later. And then guys are like, okay, I'm wafukuza, alafu you guys are back to the streets to do what? The same thing with the finance bill. Everyone thought it was just all about the finance bill. And after he shot it down, everyone is like, why are you still agitating? I think we do have a problem with the way we are packaging our message to the president himself and to the Mwananchi. And we are leaving a lot of the interpretation even to the president himself. That's why he had the audacity to bring back some of the people, because you can't give him a message and then have him interpret that message in his own way. So Wanyama, I had someone, I think, mentioning this thing of TOCG, some people are pushing for leaders, Nini. I don't think even it's about the leadership per se. It's about having something solid that you're pushing for and that can be achieved.
Mm-hmm.
Mimi, to me, that is very important, that you must have something that at least you can hand to the president or to the Mwananchi, and then you can hold the president accountable to that particular word. But ukiwacha to everyone's interpretation, I do think Wanyama will have a very big problem going forward, and probably we won't even be able to achieve much at the end of the day. But thank you, that's my submission.
Thanks, Mariam. I agree partly with what you have to say, and I'll definitely hold a different space on that one. We cannot say this is a simple conflict, and I want to answer this less than a minute so that we continue to the next speakers, because I want to keep the row going. The energy. Na msikunywe maji, mimi ukuwa na hiyo rule. Usikunywe maji, keep the anger coming. Usikunywe maji. Breathe in, breathe out, come to the spaces and speak. Breathe in, breathe out, come to the spaces to speak. Sasa, there is a confusion, and this is about the silent majority who are still in the dark. Now, to see, assume about boomers only. It's also our fellow millennials and Gen Zs as well. We can't be assuming everyone understands, especially number one, the satire on the X platform, especially for KOT. Two, when you say Ruto must go, we can't also call for the same Ruto to make changes in the government. He can't make changes when he's still the president. So I can't agree with what you're saying. So definitely we need to look at how clear we are putting Ruto must go. And the only way we are going to do it is through the spaces, because this is the one thing that is clearly moving things forward. But the silent majority is not only on X. We have TikTok, we have WhatsApp. If you check one of my other tweets is about, we need to move it to WhatsApp. At some point we need to, and that is coming. It's something that needs to be organized, and it needs a lot of community-based kind of approach, bringing people on board, the information, the graphics guys who are coming on board to get the photos. We have to push to our parents. So it depends on what is happening. Not what is happening. It depends at what stage we are in. When we started, we were just chanting Ruto must go. As we keep growing, they are growing, but we are also growing. So let's proceed as well as in these discussions, hearing people out. We take notes as well. We take notes. Si ati mnakuja tu kwa hizi spaces na tusikizi. No. It takes a lot of collaboration in the DMs, in phone calls, etc., etc. We are not leaders. We listen to you. And we just communicate what you give as well. Naona hapa San ongea alafu Dagi Mwale, and then Miss Kimathi will follow. Dakika tatu.
Sawa, asanteni sana.
Put into the space, just keep retweeting the space. Na request for the mic. Hii request ni 62 pekee bana. Nataka ifike 100. Keep the energy coming. Keep the energy coming. Request for that mic. Ni hiyo kidude iko hapo on your bottom left. Dagi, dakika tatu.
Mike, so Wanyama, thank you. Now, first of all, Ruto must go. You cannot lie to my grandfather You lie to my father. You lie to me. You want to lie to my son or my daughter? Evil. No, 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 no. Hmm? For me, I'm happy my parents, they are 70 plus, but they know kwamba Ruto is a killer, Ruto is a liar. So when I see somebody coming here, kujaribu convince ati kwamba we go and dialogue, fanya nini. This guy doesn't listen. He only cares about himself and those that are around him. Right now, he knows just the numbers because anajua ameweka Raila kwa mfuko. So he knows that Raila's goons watafanya nini? They will counter. But we are stronger than them. We will win. We must have a directive. Hii mambo kuja mtu anasema tupeleke twende mara occupy tena shule mara sijui wapi. We have to know where to hit, where it hurts most. You understand? For me, as I said in one of the speeches some time back, I don't care if my daughter, my son is going to stay at home for the next 1 year for the systems to work. Because this recycling. Ruto ameshikwa makende. Let me use that word, and I'm not apologetic to it. Ameshikwa makende na kina Duale na kina Kindiki. Remember, Kindiki was Ruto's lawyer at the ICC. Duale said, kama watu wanakumbuka, the only time he will leave politics is when he sees Ruto is the president, na amefinished term zake. That's when he will retire from politics. That means those people knows Ruto very well. And he cannot dismiss them. He cannot. Because once he does that, they are going to expose him. No maana tuchezea mchezo hapa. JKIA, let those flights land. No coming in, no going out. Wacha niggas land, yes. But wakisha land wanaenda wapi? They have to use Mombasa Road. Kule kuna kale katani kako pale paitwaje hapa. Pale Cabanas pale ndani hapo hivyo. Pale Taj Mall. That place must also be occupied. No exit, no entry. These major roads, they have to be occupied. Because wametuzoea. Ruto has done his things. Serious. How are you going to negotiate with Ruto in the first place? Nini mnaongea na Ruto? He doesn't care. So, hakuna kusema si tufanye tufanye. No. We have objectives and we know where to occupy. And not Tuesday and Thursday. That will lose the momentum. We have to come out each and every day. And memaliza.
Asante sana Dagi. And by the way, I'm just giving 3 minutes because I want to give as many speakers as possible a chance to come and just share their views. On the Jumbotron, I've put in a tweet. To some extent, I feel like we have forgotten also the other people who do not really have a lot of voice on this platform. So our small wigs, when you're still missing, Miss Giateo small wig na big wig inamaanisha nini. But if anyone is missing, post on that thread. We will keep amplifying until those people are found. Just go and comment on that tweet that I've put on the Jumbotron. If you're not able to see it, just go on my timeline as well, and you'll get. It's a thread of everyone still missing. Post them here and DM me with a big or small on this app. Miss Mwati. Not Mwati, Miss Kiman. Miss, that name always beats me. Miss Kimanti. Hey.
Kimanti, yes, thank you. Thank you, Wanyama. Thank you, everyone. Let me start by saying, I feel like Ruto is taking us for a fool, and he's really going mad, honestly. If he's not mad, he's going mad. Anyway, every day I come here, I always talk about civic education and mobilization. And Wanyama, you've mentioned WhatsApp. When this started, we had started WhatsApp groups for Gen Z, where I was trying to get people to get into many WhatsApp groups as possible, so that if you get lost, you can be able to write if you get arrested, and if your friend gets lost or arrested, you can be able to like write on the WhatsApp group. Then an idea came up to me, juicy. So I have started mobilizing youth to create groups in their own outskirts. In the outskirts of Nairobi, mostly na zile places zingine zote, so that people can have different groups za WhatsApp, so that people can join, where you share information. Na mi najua kama hapa kwa kwetu, I know like 10 Gen Zs. Of course, kama nilienda maandamano na Ayo and Wanyama, I know that asiporudi and I text him and I'm not reaching him, nitaandika kwa group niulize. So allow me to read. I read really fast. I hope 3 minutes hazitaniishia as I read, because this is what I have come up with over the last 48 hours, and that's what you're trying to do. We are few groups in. We are trying as much as possible to reach Gen Zs wakuwe na as many groups as possible. So nimeandika tunaorganize magroups za mtaa za nje ya CBD. Ni muhimu kuwa kwa groups za area yako during hii maandamano for safety, mobilization na kuhakikisha kila mtu ako sawa. Plus mtu akipotea itakuwa easy kunotice in time and we report. Pia kupeana saiki ya kutoka juu hautarudi home peke yako kwa sababu ya uoga. Kama uko kwa hizi areas, share link ya group yenyu. Kama hakuna group, tutatengeneza moja. Na of course msiogope DCI, because everyone is like, tukiingia kwa hizi groups DCI, these people have been here hata huku. Sisi ndio wengi kualiko. So I have written the areas kama Kayole, Komarok, Dandora, Umoja, Kariobangi, Buruburu, Embakasi, Donholm, and all this is every party of that. This will help us to kuena many people as possible, because we need numbers for us to occupy JKIA. Now watu watusikie, we need wherever we are occupying, we need a lot of numbers. So this is a part of mobilization, where ukiwa kwa group yako na unajua kuna watu huko ushagua wako kwa groups, ukipata hiyo information unaambia vijana kaa 10. And Wanyama, I'm going to use an example. Wale watu walivotia Ruto last year, last election, watu walikuwa convinced. I had people convince 100 people. I know someone mwenye alisema convince over 100 people avotie Ruto. Na ungekuwa na contrary opinion, hata ungetandikwa. So what I'm trying to say, that same energy we used that time, we need to use the energy right now. Kuna watu hawana simu, kuna watu hawaingii X, kuna watu hata hawana WhatsApp as we know. Kuna watu wameibiwa masimu. Kuna watu wanaogopa kutoka because wanaogopa kurudi peke yao. So guys, we need to get into these groups. Personally, I'm in like 3 WhatsApp groups where we are sending that so that we can get. Right now, I have links for Thika Road. I have links for Machakos. Yes, people are creating links wananitumia, then I share links hapa kwa Twitter. I've been sharing links watu wanaingia so that you can be able to know. So without kuongeza more, please get like 10 people. Make sure uko na 10 people and more tukikuja Tuesday. Thank you and God bless.
Asante sana Miss Kimanthi. Now known your name. Asante sana. Albert Nsengu. Albert the Menace.
Sorry. I was taking a bit. Wanyama, I wanted to pick on where Mariam had actually left here. Thanks for this speaker option, of course. But I wanted to pick at where Mariam had left. Not voice of reason, but rather I want to not really critic, but also question a few things, and the pragmatic side of everything. I understand the previous, not the immediate previous speaker, but the other one who was actually agitated and saying they want to cross the road at City Cabanas and all these other places. Echoing Mariam's question, what are the irreducible minimums? Like, what are we demanding? How is the message Ruto must go going to be affected? So do we really mean Ruto must go home? Or how is the message Occupy City Cabanas or Occupy Parliament or something packaged? I've seen Occupy somewhere started as a peaceful way of occupying somewhere, but we now know clearly that people are now using it to actually be violent or actually be violent against these people. You've seen now I've seen also Guaido pushing Occupy Boniface Mwangi's place, Occupy Kai and Cairo's business or such a thing. So then it becomes something that is so vile, you know. So then it's a revenge tactic. It's Occupy the parliamentarians' home, so we are going there to burn their home, or we are going there. So it's like a code word for the violence. But at the same time, we want to have a peaceful country, and we want to say Ruto must go home constitutionally or such a thing. So I think there are double standards. Only a lot of very big, I don't want to call them big, but it's so funny for me looking at everything. Very few people, of course, who own the organizations or the social justice movements are winning in this. People are moving out. Of course, they're inciting the youth. The youth are stepping out, of course, to go and push the agenda. But as we saw clearly in the past week, Ford Foundation is paying. Other people are paying. Donors are paying. You Twitter, like people on Twitter or diaspora are also contributing. So there are people actually getting funds out of everything, but at the same time, printing T-shirts and doing everything. But at the same time, there are youth actually dying on the street, trying to push a narrative that has no end. Like there's no end to this. The end is we can protest and we can picket, yes, but we can do it peacefully, and we cannot expect that the president will actually step down and leave the presidency. If we want to do it constitutionally, let's elect him, not elect, sorry, let's not re-elect him in 2027. It's fair enough, it's following the constitution, it's only 2 or 3 years down the line. But now we are only 2 years off politics, off the ballot, and now we are back to the cycle of politicking in the country. We are back to the cycle of agitation. People are not being productive. We are losing businesses. We are losing lives, which is a very important thing. For no reason, for a president that will still stay in power until 2027, and we will have a chance to actually remove him out of power. So for me, it's a bit ironical, and I really don't get the end game out of this. I really despise the diaspora that has been pushing this agenda for so long. I despise them for so much, a lot, that I've even not spoke on their platforms, because they're fueling or inciting the youth in the country. I understand that there are issues accountability, but we expect the same president to look at the issues accountability. So we can protest, we can do whatever, but let's have petitions. Let's write something to him. Like Mariam said, let's write something and say, okay, this is the reducible minimums, and we expect you to work on these things in this time. He dropped the cabinet. Of course, there are political players, and remember, appointing CSs is a political space. It's not. He won't appoint everyone in the country, so it's a political space. He will choose technocrats. Akina Kindiki are all technocrats. They are professors in the field that they're working in. So we cannot really now start thinking we want him out, but at the same time we want him to appoint people that we don't know. And if we propose, then we are asked to propose these people, but we don't propose people that we want, but we wait for him to act. So I don't want to sanitize the president. I understand he has some work to do, of course, to clean the corruption issue and accountability issues, which I also support. I am happy the bill was dropped, which was good. And now let's focus on institutional ways of actually winning the next strides, rather than actually incite the youth to be out on the streets. For me, that's it. You'll be out on the streets peacefully, I'll support it. But being out on the streets to occupy somewhere, to burn businesses down, to now start fighting against each other, I feel like it's getting messy, and I don't like such. Thanks
Albert.
Yeah.
Me personally, and I want to answer you as I go to the next person. I'm not full of answers, but this is how I've been seeing people trying to be on the borderline or try to push the side of the leaderless kind of thing to come to their side. One is, I've been reading what people are saying. So especially on the Kindiki matter. The others like Aden Duale, etc., me, I don't want to go there because it's clear they are not fit for purpose entirely. We are looking at these
Wanyama,
things from the point of. Let me just finish first.
let,
We
let me
are
ask.
looking.
Let me ask as you answer. Yeah.
Mhm.
Have you seen the Somali business? Not really Somali. I don't want to tag them Somali, but rather the Kenyan Somali businesses that have risen up in the east side of Nairobi. You've seen what Isili has become.
Mhm.
Don't you think those are capital owners? A whole block of voters, a whole block of capital owners in the country. Which the businesses are running. You've seen how many buildings in Kilimani or Kilelesha, all owned by a certain group of people.
Yeah. But my question is this, and this is where I come in with. I really need very clear communication. What is the relation between Aden Duale and the Somali community? He comes from there, but what is the relation with him being in office? Those are two
capital
different things.
owners. So,
And
capital owners. We have to understand the country is not run
That
by.
is what we are trying to remove from the government of tokenism. That is what is ailing Kenya. The next thing
Do
is
you know what the
Amaluya.
Rockefeller
We
Foundation
will
does
easily say as well, using the same narrative, and I'm taking time to answer Albert because this is a question I get in all the different spaces. I can easily say Luyas are also majority. In one way or another, they deserve something. Do I support Papa Roma being in speaker position? No. As much as he's been in foreign affairs for years and years and years, you can easily just jump in and say, okay, since he's been in foreign affairs for many years, he demands that he has the numbers, and Luyas also have businesses, etc. He needs to be in that office. Those are very risky lines that we are. It's like one thing is leading to another. If you talk about capital owners and they want to be in one space, we'll have to bring in tribalism as well. So I really don't want us to go there. Lastly, it's this. He who comes should come with clean hands. Kindiki, from the beginning, people have been pro Kindiki. But is there goodwill? That's what we are speaking about. Is there really goodwill? Or is he there to do the master's bidding? That's the confusion that is there with the Kindiki appointment. It's not all these other things of people saying, oh, left, right, and center. There's a lot of people with a very good CV in Kenya, by the way. Very, very many. So let's look at these things clearly, logically, and as much as there's emotions involved in them, and we have a voice. And I said, when we come to these spaces, and the reason why I'm looking at clear communication is this: people hustle to come to buy bundles and come to these spaces. So whatever we are pushing, let's push it very clearly and avoid gaslighting in different spaces as well. I been around the diaspora community for some time, and Albert, you of all people should know that because we've been running around in this diaspora community spaces, even meetings, etc. I was doing even diaspora opportunities at some point. It's one delicate community, but very important in terms of how they try assist some things back home. So we are already past the point of pitching the diaspora against the ones at home. This is Kenya, whether you're in diaspora or whether you're at home. But in the spirit of keeping the conversation going, I really need to go to the next speaker so that we get as many views as possible. And guys, when you come here to the speaker panel, remember, attack the idea, not the person. So let's keep the conversation.
Wanyama, I don't have a right of reply.
Less than a minute then. Less than a minute. I'm not even going to respond to it. Less than a minute. And I'm serious on that one.
Okay, easy, no problem. Thanks. Right of reply. Of course, I know we've run a lot of spaces on diaspora matters. What I'm calling incitement for me is, yes, I know we diaspora support a lot of things that are happening in the country, but I understand that the diaspora in a way becomes a woke part of the population, of course, because they are out there living in a different political jurisdiction or political climate in different countries. Yeah. So if a diaspora is in Europe, they expect that what's in Europe could actually be happening in their home country. So they wish the home country well, I understand, and they wish that things could be done differently. or faster, or maybe as in their home or as in their host countries. But I understand that also there are home realities that sometimes we are blinded to. And the realities are the politics have been built for so long on a certain trajectory, which is so hard to break from, not if not given time. Time should tell that something is been that a leader is actually moving away from the old type of doing things. But we don't expect that now. Yeah, we don't expect that we are out on the rise. We complain and then we say, okay, the president drops the whole cabinet, and then we say, okay, now he's going to appoint fresh new people. What does fresh new people mean in a docket? What does it mean in progression of the agendas that were there in government? You know, there are a lot of things that actually are in leadership, and let me just drop it there because I think we really put a lot of weight on a number of sentiments that are put here. But if you really sit in some of these leadership roles or classes, then you really understand that it's not as easy as ABCD or biting your apple and going home. The president, you've seen how bad the president is becoming day in, day out, even on matters health. It's not, leadership is not what you think. I just drop it at that. Okay.
Thanks, Albert. I don't necessarily agree with most, but this is a discussion for another time. Hirad.
Thank you very much for having me. Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear. Like Katatu.
Yeah.
3 minutes.
Thank you very much for that. I would like to, add, my political point of view, and also to understand, what is, the agenda. What is the conclusion you want to reach after all these demonstrations? And we know Africa, the most of the political parties are tribe societies pushing one man because of believing they are he from one tribe, and the others try to take the power from using a tribal political parties. So do you think you can educate your members and this those who want to participate this kind of civil resistance in order for you to change the the corrupted institutions that's been in place for quite a long time, instead of targeting just a one man? Do you think you can create a local groups who understand the difference between tribal political parties and the national interest, where you can have everyone on board instead of just some sort of group which looks like sometimes they are aggressive and violent? So why don't you try to educate the members who want to participate this kind of civil resistance, and to have a guidelines what to do or not to do, where you are aiming? Is it possible? And that the current president is going to step down. Is that possible in this situation in Africa at this moment? So do you think you are doing a lot of effort which have no conclusion? I came from Somalia 22 years ago. What we have seen in Somalia, in Ethiopia at the moment, in what's going on in Kenya, Sudan, everywhere, group of political, leaders are trying to, overthrow president. In order to do that, they are violating all the institutions, the peace and stability, the interest of the country, the national interest, the people's safety and security. So what I'm trying to say, do you have a proper plan that you can explain? We are people above the tribal issues, and violence. We are aiming this and this. We want to reach this by that time. We are some sort of people who have programs educating their members. Then everyone can trust and join. because nobody wants to have, corrupted leaders. For example, I've been spending a lot of money to sell things through Jumia. I am one of the people that, it cost 1 day of demonstrations. But at the same time, if it will help in the future to rid of the corruption in Kenya, that will be my interest. So can you come up with an ideas, guidelines, where you can be a very peaceful people who wants to make a change that will be the interest of everyone for Africa and Kenya and the leaders who wanted to overthrow this corrupted government as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Hirad, and thank you for your efforts as well. Tunasema shukrani sana to anyone that showed up and gave their best. Asante sana. Those concerns tunaifikiria, but also keep your voices coming in. Julie, you're next.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. 3 minutes.
Okay. So my concern particularly is on calling for accountability from our policemen. I think we are leaving this issue on other people, like maybe the IPOA or the Human Rights Resource, Commission to deal with the issue, while we are the one who are suffering and we are the one who are supposed to take this issue on the front line, because to be honest, I don't think anyone is looking out for the young people. I don't think so many people are as concerned, about those who are being hurt, those who are being abducted, those who are being killed in the demonstrations. I think it's about time we take the matter of our own security in our own hands. My suggestion is that we can march to the police stations. We can demand from those, who are in charge of or who are giving orders, to tell us why are people being hurt? Why are people being killed in the streets? So I feel like we shouldn't leave this matter to other people. We as a movement, we should be on the front line. And I think the first thing is our safety. If you're going to the street and you feel like you're not safe, anything can happen. Then I think this is what is demoralizing a lot of people or even creating a lot of fear, because if one is shot and no one is taking responsibility, or no one is accountable, or it's just another person. Even the police themselves, they have the guts to continue with this brutality. So I feel like maybe before we occupy anywhere else, can we have a strong call for accountability from our police force, and also those who are giving the orders, especially those who are giving the orders. Can we maybe occupy the, what is the place in town here where,
Land.
So yeah, I feel like we should take this matter into our own hand. Let's not leave it to other people. Our own safety, if it's in our hands, we should be able to call for accountability. We should not move past calling for accountability of for those who have been hurt, those who have been killed. This should be our first and foremost concern, that before we go to the street next week on Tuesday, that our safety is guaranteed. Is it so hard if we are calling for accountability from the president? Why can't we call for the accountability from those who are giving these orders? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Julie. Let's go to Better Kenya.
Hi Wanyama.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Uko poa?
Niko salama. Dakika tatu speak.
Very fast. Julie, I don't know what accountability you're looking for, but that is not going to happen today, tomorrow, or anytime soon. So stop even asking people to ask that. By doing that, we will be wasting more time. We've already wasted enough time waiting for President Ruto to give us whatever it is that we want. Another person had suggested writing a list of the things that we want done. That's another wastage of time, because we all know that nothing we ask for is going to be given to us. We are dealing with a dictator, someone who believes that we should not ask for anything from him, and he has the right to run this country however he feels fit. So no, asking for anything from him will not solve anything. We've seen that, we've been there, we've done that. We need to move on into finding solutions and giving ideas that are going to push him out of parliament. Another thing, doing this using the constitution will never work. Why? Because he is the one creating and making these constitution rules. He is going to change the constitution to what favors him. So that cannot work. That's why he cannot give. Okay, ni kama sasa mna expect Ruto awape the key to opening a door that will lead him out of parliament. He's not going to do that. That is not going to happen. Occupying schools. I don't get the point of occupying schools. What? Because tukienda maandamano, most likely the children won't even be in schools. That's another wastage of time. Let's do things that will make them uncomfortable, things that will fuck him up. JKIA sounds perfect. I don't know why we have to go through, around and run around when we know occupying JKIA and crossing the expressway is going to work good. Is going to make him feel it. So we should be occupying, the ports. We should make sure nothing gets in Kenya and nothing leaves Kenya for a certain period of time. So tufunge kama maports, JKIA, borders zote, to make sure hakuna outside, anything from outside is not getting in Kenya, nothing from Kenya is leaving the country. I feel like that should be our aim, our main goal, our main focus. Hizi zingine ni unnecessary, hakuna kitu itatupea hata tuende to camp CBD throughout haita happen. We can occupy State House, tuende na tukae huko na tuamue, we make ourselves comfortable there inside until he leaves. Obviously, he won't be in State House if we are in State House. We just have to make sure he never gets back to State House by staying there until he resigns. That's all. Tuendelee, but tuache waste time. We focus on what works. We occupy JKIA, we close the ports, we occupy State House.
Asante sana Beta. Mzee Mwaura, how are you today?
Wanyama kwema.
Karibu sana to the space. Hata wewe leo tunakupea dakika 3. Kwa heshima, tunaheshimu wazee wetu, lakini time.
Hakuna shida, mimi huheshimu sheria. Okay, thank you very much. Me nataka kusema hivi, I just want to start by saying this. I'm really shocked to hear what some people are saying. You see, particularly those in diaspora. You see, the fact that something is illegal doesn't make it moral. Let me repeat that. The fact that something is illegal doesn't make it moral. And the fact that the Constitution says that Ruto must stay until 2027 doesn't mean he has to stay there. And for those people in diaspora, I would like to ask them this question. If this thing, what happened on 20 when Parliament was occupied, if Parliament was occupied, let's say in Berlin, let's say it was occupied in Paris, let's say it was occupied, let's say in Toronto, that government could have resigned. So that is the day that Ruto could have just said, enough is enough, and I'm leaving office. So you see,
Number two, you cannot have somebody like Dick. Yes, he's a technocrat. I believe that he's I think a professor in law. But this is a minister who oversaw the massacre of the youth, of our children. Yet he has been reappointed again. What does that make? You see? So let's not pretend as if being being in diaspora and living in the comfort of where we are, and things that can only be done by the devil himself are happening in Kenya, and we just clap and just watch them happening. No, I don't support that. Let's be human. Let's be human enough. Let's care about those people who are dying for lack of medication in Kenya, lack of food, people who are lacking education in Kenya, people who cannot take their children to the university because the fee has been hiked, people whose money, billions and billions, are being reported every day by the Auditor General. And as I go, every day billions are missing. Yet nothing is happening. And yet you stay with this person until 2027. Somebody is saying that it's only 3 years down there. Yes, I believe it's only 3 years to 2027. But do you know the kind of damage that Ruto will do before we reach 2027? You see, this is not a person you can negotiate with. It's as if we don't know who Ruto is. We know who he is. We know the history since the YK92, since the grabbing of Brad Muteshi, the tear gassing of children at Langata Road Primary School. We know all this about him. So this is a person who cannot change, a person who is not ready to listen, and a person who is not ready for dialogue. You see, I don't support people doing violence. I'm fully against that. And when you hear that same thing, somebody here saying that the Ford Foundation is funding the demonstration in Kenya, I'm sure that somebody can believe such nonsense from Ruto, that Ford is funding this demonstration. Ford is nowhere. And after all, what Ruto could have done if he knew it was Ford, he has all the intelligence. We have one of the best intelligence in Africa. He could have brought the evidence. He didn't bring the evidence. And the Ford Foundation funded a lot of projects in Kenya, including the judiciary itself. Does he also want to tell us that funding the judiciary by Ford is also wrong? Please, me, I don't support any violence. I'm somebody who is very peaceful, and any hand over the power of the planet. Ruto, the only thing Ruto can do honorably now is to resign from office. But he cannot, I know he cannot do that unless maybe he's forced out. Because this is somebody who is very greedy for power. I thought that he's going to bring at least a new faces in the card, but he has just recycled the very same thing. That is continuing day, right, left, and center. So for me, please, if you're in diaspora, continue living your comfortable life, but let's be human. Let's care about the sufferings of that Kenyans are going through. Where's Jua? Uko umekaa huko, sijui huko Marekani, umekaa huko Uswisi, huko Ujerumani, Uingereza, huko in your comfort, everything is running. Where's Jua ile shida hii tuko naye Kenya? Tafadhali tuheshimiane. Tujue ile shida wa Kenya wenzetu wanapitia huko nyumbani. Asante, nimekasirika sana. Wacha nimalizie hapo.
Asante sana, msikunywe maji mkikasirika, please request for the mic. Asante sana mzee Mwaura. As always, we value your wisdom in these spaces. Mkikasirika, don't drink water. Breathe in, breathe out, then come to these spaces and vent. Joshua?
All right. Thank you, Wanyama. Do you hear me?
Loud and clear, 3 minutes.
All right, thank you. I want to say, Mwaura, thank you so much for venting, and this is what I want to hear. I want to reply to Albert. I've been seeing him online here every space trying to sanitize the government, and you cannot sell the government at this point. This is not the time to sell the government. The government is rotten to the core, and there's no Kenyan that can accept what the government is doing. I mean, you cannot fire the cabinet after firing all the cabinet, and then out of 11, you bring back 6. What was the point of you firing them? You could have reshuffled them and fire whoever you wanted to fire. All right? So, Albert, let me tell you that, you cannot sanitize the government here. I want to talk to Abuda. I think he's listening here.
Joshua?
Yes,
I still insist on the part of, I'm not trying to protect Albert, but I still insist on the part of attack the idea, not the person. Because here's the thinking.
I'm trying to attack his idea.
Yeah, here's the thinking about, and you're not wrong, Joshua. I'm just trying to elevate us, or let us elevate each other to the point of, if someone like Albert is asking those questions, trust me, my mother is asking. We'll ask us those questions at some point.
Okay.
So let's focus on the idea of the person.
This is the point, and this is my question. Kindiki is a technocrat. We say yes, it's a technocrat.
2023, 72 people died during demonstration under his watch. This year, 51 people have died under his watch during demonstrations, all of them by the government, by the police. 42 people in Kwara massacre. How many people do people want to die so that you can know that this man is unfit for the position? It doesn't matter who is president. It doesn't matter where he come from. I don't care about that. What we care is somebody who can bring policies that can help Kenyan people. I'm from diaspora, like Alpert. And I want to say to tell Maura that not everybody who is from diaspora, who is trying to save the government at this point. But the point is, if we occupy, okay, next week we are going for Maandamano, and some of us will be supporting you here from, sharing the, the hashtag and everything. The thing is that let us try to inject to Sirusi hope, tuendelee kufanya kazi kawaida, kazi anamaanisha kazi ya maandamano. That's the only, that's the only language that the government understands. Because all these other things people are saying, ya kuenda kuongea, all those kind of things, government doesn't understand that thing. Ruto is trying to save himself. So the language that he understands in the maandamano, that's the only thing that can bring him down. All right? So I don't have nothing to say about that. Thank you.
Asante pia Joshua, asante sana. By the way, you raise very valid concerns, which is good. But I have to go to the next speakers. I would like to contribute to that, but because of time, let's give people chances. Billy Mijungu. Is this the Billy, our senior in journalism? Billy, if you can hear me. Billy Mijungu. I've never heard his voice. Keeps coming and just... Okay, if Billy is not there, Simba. Simba, can you hear me? Hashim Simba. You unmute, but I can't hear you. And guys, no need to raise your hand. I've clearly marked how people are coming to the speaker panel. Next, Mr. Daniel Wabwire.
Hata pia mimi nichukue nafasi kwanza niwasalimu.
Before you continue, Daniel, let me tell
Daniel,
just a second. Simba and Billy, please, I'm dropping you, but come back to the speaker panel. Just request again once you've sorted out your mic issues. Wabwire, habari yako kaka?
Poa sana bwana. Unajua hapa ni mahali penye tunaambiana ukweli. Hapa tufichaningi kwa space. Na hatutaita kijiko kuwa ile naitwaje? We cannot call a spoon a big a spoon. A spade a spoon. Mimi kwa watu wote ambao wamepeana mazungumzo yao tumesikia wote. And most of them wanatuudi hapa kwa space. Most of us tumepitia direct, tumeface direct uchungu wa hii serikali. So mtu hawezi kuja hapa aanze kutuambia ati venye tunafaa tuwazilishe maoni yetu, na hiyo maoni anajua. Huyu jamaa anaona TV kila siku. Anajua hata sana kuna daughters wanamwambia. Sana sema daughters wako kwa ground wanaongea na vijana. Hii kitu lazima tuongezane ukweli. Maandamano tunafaa tuende kila siku. I wanted first kuuliza Albert swali kwa sababu naona yeye anajaribu ati about sanitization na hii ambayo hatutakubali. These people are trying to sanitize the president. If you are in government, you are eating very well. Familia yako haipitie shida. Many families out here wanaumia. Family hata maji ya kunywa peke yake hawana. So giving somebody a time kwa space akuja hapa kuleta kuvuruga mkutano ambao tunajua title tumeandika #Ruto must go. Kama hujasoma hiyo title usiingie kwa space. That is how it is. Kwa hii space imeandikwa Ruto must go kumaanisha ukiingia umejoin cause. You either you are with us or with them. Hiyo ndio mambo yenye tunafaa tuongelee. Lakini tukileta ati you have different, tunakubali both opinions. Hii hatujaika at debate kuuliza who is supporting the government and who is not supporting the government. Here tuko here on the same cause. And the same cause is that Ruto must go because he has failed as a leader. Na tumesema the only way that Ruto anasikia ni maandamano. through protest ndiye Ruto anaelewa, na hapo ndio Mkenya anaruhusiwa kupiga kura hapo na pia kuandamana kwa streets, na tumeona njia yenye Ruto anasikia sana ni street. So tukikuja hapa tunaongelea about how atasikiaje, wapi penye atafinyika zaidi, wapi penye atasikia uzito. So mtu akuja na kuambia hapa we have seen diaspora wanasaidia maandamano, and ukiangalia hizo kampuni zenye namuliko za diaspora unapata they are helping the same government, unapata hizo funds zinaendea the same government. Mimi sijaipata fund yote ati Daniel this is receive this money go and fund protest. Mimi mwenyewe najitoa kwa sababu najua hii serikali ilipitisha wapi kupata kazi, nikakosa kazi mpaka nikaanzia biashara yangu, na hiyo biashara yenye nimeanzia tena serikali inaua kabisa. Alafu mtu anakuja hapa because you are earning government salary, unakuja hapa unaanza kutusomea ujinga. We will not tolerate that. Kama unajua uko kwa space na umekuja kuja na cause moja #Ruto must go, soma hiyo title. Kama usomi hiyo usijoin hiyo tu ndio yangu. I think na supportiwa na wengi hapa. Tena mwingine hizo dakika nimedonate.
Sasa Daniel. Albert, I think unataka salamu za Gen Z. Pia unataka salamu za. I see your request, but unfortunately to bring in more speakers, I can't recycle the speakers as well. Mr. Yuti. Bana, mko na majina. King Yuti, are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
You are
I'm
next.
here, brother.
You are next. For anyone joining us right now, we are still on the topic of Ruto must go, the movement in Kenya right now. And we are just asking you not to be a silent follower. Please remember to retweet the space, follow Afrocentric, follow me as well. My name is Wanyama, and follow Ayo as well. The reason why we are doing that is not for gain train. We are asking you to do that because whenever we put the next space, you'll be here and you'll be joining us. Do not miss even a dime. Mr. Yuti, go ahead.
Okay. Yes. My name is Yuti, natoka Nakuru. Yes, na niko na view. Mimi naona tuna waste time sana hapa. Kuna I want to echo someone mwenye ameongea sahi. There are people who want just to spread kitu ya eniaje tuingize ka forgiveness. My question is, tukiingiza all this softness yenye tunataka tuingize, gava inatuangalia aje? Gava inatufanyia nini? We cannot even talk, we can't, yani sioni hata room ya kukaa mahali tuongee kama wase waliuliwa. I don't think hata saa hii ati tunaweza kaa tunafuata tukue tumeweka gava hii time, hata saa hii tumeweka sana. I think it's time ni aje, we are tired and we need to show how serious we are, kwa sababu at the moment as much as we are showing we are very serious, you see how the government is doing. Tunachezea mind games, na ndio maana hizi mind games zimeja. You come even to a space like here, unapata kuna someone anakuja kutuambia ni aje, nataka tu mkue msikirie gava huruma, msifanye hii au anatufanyia nini. You guys mnataka tuache hiki kitu turudi wapi? Mnataka tuache maandamano turudi wapi? You want the next week, the next month you're still dealing with the same people. Sasa kwanza watakuja na vengeance, watakuja na ubaya. Why? Wameweza kusilence the best that Kenya would offer, yenye inaweza offer at this time in this season. So the thing is, sioni time ya kuongea, time ya kukaa chini ati tuanze kufikiria vile tutakuwa compassionate. At the end of the day, these guys are killing us. They are killing our businesses. They are killing our dreams. Yani uko sahi hata una hope. Unasikia whole president anakuaga akisema ati anataka kuexport labor. What the fuck? Hiyo ni government gani? Ati niko na agenda ya kuexport labor. Yani sitaki mwaka kwa country yangu, nataka muende mwaka na huko. Kwa sababu yeye anataka kucontrol the retail yenye wataachwa. The thing is, hakuna kukaa chini, hakuna kukaa as in we are not going to negotiate anymore. Hakuna hata chance ya kupea hii room wasi wanatupoison akili zetu. We are just tired of the system. Personally, I'm so tired. I'm not going back. Mimi hata wasi wenye wanaongea ati historia ya maandamano, ni wasi watu wajaenda. Ni wasi wajafika kwa street, ama ni wasi wa affected na hii stuff directly. They are well off. But the thing is, there are people who are suffering like real. Kuna wasi saizi wanachunwa tu na gava hivi ni aje, uko na kampuni. I'm personally one of them. Unachunwa tu ndo nini? They don't want you to empower yourself. So guys, mi sijui tuna negotiate turudi wapi. I don't see anywhere we are going back to. I don't see a room of us atie ni aje tuache Ruto afike 2027. How? Huyo msi atatumaliza before 2027. Vijana tutakuwa zero. IDs zitafikishwa hata 10,000. The thing is, hatuna chance, hatuna time. It's either we wake up right now, guys, or ni aje imeisha. Mi yote imebaki na achia mse next. Thank you guys.
Time yako
So,
imeisha. Time yako imeisha. Mongare, let's have some decorum when you come to the speaker
okay,
panel.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, just
Thank you.
wait
Can you
for
hear
your
me?
chance. Mongare, wait. Have some decorum when you come to the speaker panel. You'll get your chance. So let's give other people the chance they need. 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes. Anthony was next. Anthony?
Asante sana Wanyama. So mi niko na proposal. Currently saa hii movement ni kama imepata a new rebirth, a new lease of life. So zile vitu tuna ask, the things we are asking for, to make sure zina resonate na all other Kenyans, because wacha ni washow kitu kwa all of us. Ile cry venye huyo mse ametoka anasema biashara yake imefinywa, hata zetu zimefinywa. So tuko na chance ya kucollect all these cries za Wakenya tuzieke kwa hii movement. So as much as wase wanasema Ruto must go, constitutionally na Wanyama, I think unaweza bring in lawyers watu show, yes, tukichoose option ya kusema Ruto must go, constitutionally how practical is it? Akitupea reasonable timeline, well and good, you can take that route. On the other, my take is, as we go out Tuesday, tuitishe zile vitu wa Kenya wengi wanaitisha. Juu saa hii wametu entrust na goodwill. You know, they are really supporting us. Hata kama across all ages wanatu support. So tuitishe vitu kama huyo msa amesema IDs. No, we say we want a better cabinet, we want corruption tackled, all these things. I know people will say he knows, but repetition is not wrong. So, and then kitu ngine nataka to take note of Wanyama, because nimerealize nikikusikiza you are well versed. Wewe ni mse uko well informed. Na kila mtu hapa yuko. The only way we shall have a successful revolution is if we also take time to learn from other revolutions. Akina Nelson Mandela, akina Wangari Maathai. So wacha ni zero into na Nelson Mandela na Wangari Maathai. Wangari Maathai alifight Moi. Moi had not this constitution, the old one, which gave him supreme power. So Wangari Maathai alikuwa na organize, hizi rallies come out. But aka notice yeye pekee wakitoka wanapigwa, wanauliwa, wanaimprisoniwa. So akajiuliza ni aje tunaweza demonstrate na tufikie Moi bila sisi kukufa na kuumia. That is the reason alienda Uhuru Park. Akaenda Uhuru Park, wase wa Moi akamiscatulate, akata kwa Wangari Maathai akiwa Uhuru Park. That was the end of Moi's regime. Kwa nini? Juu international community ili come in, ikauliza Moi to explain here, what are these women asking for? They are asking for the release of their husbands and children who you have imprisoned without trial. And let me now go to my third point. That's where the international community, that's when you get to realize how strong the international community is when it comes to our local politics. Ruto anaweza kuwa tuogopi, but trust you me, kama sahi US inaenda kufanya elections, anaogopa hiyo voice. Unaona? So as we plan the way forward, Wanyama na akina Ayo, how do we make this government look bad in front of the international community? Because let me tell you, even Nelson Mandela, to end apartheid, it was not how people died in Soweto. He ended it because the Ali shift focus from South Africa, aka bring in international force. Wase wengine pia wakaanza kuresonate na reasoning yake. Because wacha niwaambie, corruption hakuna mtu anaitaka, home and abroad. If we can be able to make this government naked, we shall win. Without us having to die, we shall win. I just need, na feel tu tuna need to rethink na tukue more strategic. That's the only thing. I feel we have the right message, but tuna deliver in the wrong way. Nimemaliza Wanyama. Wanyama. Mnanisikia?
Yeah, tunakusikia.
Yeah. Oh, and then ya mwisho Wanyama, let's consider how we can all bring our voices together. Kuna msali kwa message hiyo kitu kama kuna venye tunaweza fikiria venye tunaweza merge, na Ayo comment akatoa very good example venye Citizen Nation wali interview president. If there's a way tunaweza leta hizi ideas zote into one boiling point, kama wewe una hostingi, Kibe ana hostingi, wase wale tunaweza agree, tunaweza come pamoja, so that we make every idea into a better idea, we enrich each other. Hiyo ndio kitu tunaweza suggest going forward. That's my last comment.
Guys, can anyone hear me?
Now we can. Now we can.
Okay.
We actually were not hearing you earlier.
Before I got I got kicked out of the space. I don't know how, man. But I'm back. Before I get to the co-host again, let's keep this one going. Thank you, Anthony. Next was Dennis Lavezi. 3 minutes. Before I'm able to accept more speakers into the panel. Dennis, can you hear me? Lavezi. Going once, twice. Okay. Redemptor.
Yes, Wanyama.
Tuambie maneno muhimu kwa dakika 3.
Nitajaribu kucompress. For self-preservation, so that I am not arrested.
Dennis, it's fine. You will speak after Redemptor. It's okay. Actually, Redemptor.
Okay, it's fine.
Thank you.
So for self-preservation in this era of abductions, I like to declare mimi ni mtetezi, mwandishi, mzazi na mwananchi. So I will address, today I'll speak as a writer who uses words, and I'll speak as a mtetezi. And as a parent, I'll say, hata tukiongea aje, I have been out there because my children, my nieces and nephews have put their lives on the line to defend their constitution, to demand for accountability, and they have been meted with injustices. Now, very quickly, politics is a game of numbers, and it is a game of perception. I want to apologize for people who've been in this platform, Afrocentric, when I get very agitated and maybe I feel like, looks like I'm attacking you. That is the mtetezi maybe, and the mama tiger, the mzazi, that come in play. There's someone who has come here. They have said politics is a game of perception. It's a word. They use words. They use propaganda. Now, writers, lawyers, politicians, philosophers, media personality, and the clergy play with words. People have come to this platform and told us that our president, their president, Ruto is a good strategist. I have even gone to the dictionary. A strategist is someone who is skilled in planning for military and political. But I think I want to change that word and tell you that this man is a schemer. And a schemer is one who has underhand dealings. The plans are under. So the use of words is what is being played on the citizens. And I'll keep repeating, our young people are smart. There's someone who has come here and said Ford Foundation, we've just discovered Ford Foundation has been funding. I am offended that someone who knows how the world works would go with a narrative to mislead, misinform people. Ford Foundation has been in Kenya for donkey years, and they give money to those organizations. Now, very quickly, people are taking advantage of a movement. And that is like when there were floods, maji ikitoka huko ikibeba ilikuwa inabeba kila kitu. Kila kitu. Good things that are not supposed to be swept away were being swept away. So they play that diaspora, I despise diaspora. That was a very strong statement. I have said it and I want to repeat. Now I can borrow the word despise. I despise old men who kill young men who are just fighting to survive. I want us to amplify suffering and injustice that is in Kenya. Anything else ni maneno, ni kucheza na maneno. So I'll finish. I won't talk for long. There's revenge mission. Politicians are turning on each other. They are trying to take advantage of the Gen Z movement. It started out as a Gen Z movement. Now it is an ideology of people who are convicted that they have the capacity using their brains to save their country. Anybody who is coming here to tell us how good Ruto is in planning must also tell us how good he is in scheming. Anybody here who is coming to tell us how the young people have no plan must remember how these young people have suffered. We've just gone through post-election every time we have skirmishes. Then we've just come from COVID where people died, 20 people died. Someone has mentioned 72 last year when JA revolution, that was a JA revolution that was budding. Then ikamalizwa na wanasiasa. Now we are in another one. Thank you for your time.
Asante sana.
Sawa,
Asante sana.
sawa, sawa.
Asante sana. Dennis Lavezi, dakika 3 strictly. And before you even go, Afro, if you can hear me, fanya ile jambo. I need to bring in more speakers into the panel. Afrocentric. Dennis.
Yes, Wanyama.
3 good.
Yes, Wanyama. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Dennis. Can you hear me?
Thank you very much. I think it's my first time to get an opportunity, so thank you. Hello, guys. First of all, I would like to say, I would like to talk about the strategy. We have a problem with strategy because when the hashtag there out there is Ruto must go, and every time you go in space, you go to the X, you find it. But now, different people from different angles, you find people saying occupy everywhere. Another person is saying occupy CBD. At the same time, another person says occupy Uhuru Park. So when the political class see this, I want to say clearly, they are very happy. They are very happy. It looks like we are dividing ourselves because when we do that, that's why we are seeing police are able to kill us. Police are able to abduct us because we do not have numbers. So we have a problem with the strategy. Remember, we are dealing with a person, like the previous speaker has said, is a strategist, and you can see how he knows how to play games. Now, the person we are dealing with is not just evil, it's like a devil. And he hides in church. Religion in Africa, I don't know, I think some people know, but not many people. Religion is one of the main cause of poverty and suffering in Africa. Most people may not believe it, but personally, I believe it's true. And that's why religion and politics, they are inseparable. They are both very evil, and religion is even more evil than politics. Ruto knows that, and he used the same religion to become a president. And that's why whenever the political class is threatened, they very quickly run to the religion, to the church. They try to ask the church to calm down the people. And the good things that the citizens are fighting for, eventually it becomes nothing because most of the people listen. And therefore, we should be able to know the kind of the person we are dealing with. So my point was, first of all, we have a problem with the strategy. For example, we need to have a concrete strategy. If we say occupy State House, it is not something that can happen without numbers. For example, somebody proposed out there, we need to pull people from counties because, for example, the last time there were demonstrations, I could see in many counties, there were more demonstrators, more protesters than in Nairobi. And this one, you can bear me witness. So I don't know how easy it is, but if we can succeed in pulling these protesters together from those counties and from all regions, areas of Nairobi, and then we agree on one thing at a time. Occupy JKIA or occupy State House, one thing at a time. There is nobody who can stop close to 1 million crowd. Police and the security will run away and we will finish it because we have lost so many lives. And when we continue with this kind of Occupy CBD, and even now, you go to Twitter, go to X now, you see, people are spreading different strategies. Occupy CBD, Occupy whatever, Occupy Uhuru Park, Occupy JKI now, surely. Let us have a concrete plan. There is no one who can stop close to 1 million protesters, and we can win it in a record time if we do that. I want you to know, Sri Lanka, I think it took them almost 7 months. But I tell you, if we can pull these people and we spread this strategy, we have like close to 1 million, and we march to State House. It is a done deal. It is a done deal. The other thing is, as somebody is saying, we are wasting out of time. We are wasting out of time. We need to do it because we are losing so many young people every time. The other thing, sorry, before I finish, maybe can give me a few seconds, is about police abductions. How many people do we want to lose? These people, they say, I see when I go to X, I see very many people posting posters there, releasing them to the president and the country saying, we have said you do this and this. Why are you not creating a poster, please? And say, let it giving police ultimatum. We tell the police, warning and ultimatum. Tomorrow, if we go to the streets and you kill one more person or abduct one more person, we have also to act. Why are you not releasing those posters? I've only seen posters saying, Kenya president do this, design and so on. Very many posters, good one. Why? Someone to design a poster and we have to act. They cannot, as somebody said, if you see someone being abducted, there is no way it can happen. Those are criminals. They are abducting protesters. It cannot be happening. It cannot. It is high time we give. Yes, please.
Kwa heshima tu malizia.
Okay. Let me stop there. But we need a clear strategy.
Asante sana Dennis. But usikunywe maji tafadhali. Just breathe in, breathe out. Usikunywe maji. Najua tumekasirika. All of us tumekasirika. Yeah. Usikunywe maji. Breathe in, breathe out, kuja. Napenda vile umeweka. Let's just continue like that. Simba. Hashim, sijui ni simu yako iko na shida or what? Every time you join the spaces, you just don't speak. Simba, going once, are you able to hear me? We cannot hear you. I see you've unmute, but I can't hear you. Or kuna mtu yote in the speaker panel anasikia Simba?
No, I can't get him.
Okay. Next was Mongare. Mongare, umetujoin finally. Mongare as well can't be heard. I think now we are at Kingori. Kingori Mwangi.
Yes, thank you, Bwana Wanyama. I hope you are
dakika tatu. Dennis, yes, please mute your mic.
Just want to say that it is this debate is it is timely, and we don't need to continue attacking the driver. We must also look at the vehicle ourselves as a society in Kenya. That we have two components that we have to check on ourselves. One, it is the moral standards that we have set as a society, as Kenyans, as citizens. What we are demanding of our leaders, do we have it ourselves? And that is the system we have to look at. The whole vehicle should be looked at before even the driver comes in. Even a new one, is the vehicle ready for the driver? So we are just on ourselves. The drivers, then we start attacking the driver, forgetting that the vehicle has engine issues, it has wheel issues, the inside, the seats are not there. If they are there, they are broken. So we must go back and look at the moral standards that we have. At the same time, we also need to change the strategy. Now we go for this church. The church, we should go to the church and register all the churches afresh so that they can achieve the standards that we want to be set in this country. So that we can cure the problem of morals
because that is where the morals comes from. That's the role of the church, to propagate the message of morals in our society. Then we go to the legal fraternity. Do we have the requirements, the legal requirements in our constitution? Is our constitution able to cure all this, or we need to overhaul it? We need to now to amend this constitution so that we are not burdened. At the same time, what we are demanding is inserted, clauses are inserted in that document, so that when you are demanding, we are able to quote a particular section and say this one should be done this way from Gen Z, from the citizens, that all of us, we agree that if it is corruption, we are able to fight it this way and this way. We classify the offenses that we need to fight most, because normally there are these normal offenses we have, but we have the capital offenses. What should we do for those offenses? So the legal fraternity should sit down, come up with the citizen-driven bills, take it to the parliament. We also have other parliamentarians who are good. Now they should be, their services should be needed. They should be sought so that we can take those bills which are citizen-driven. We come up with citizen-driven. Those, all the Gen Z lawyers should sit down then, as parliament opens on Tuesday. What happens? Take the bill there. Give one of the, now let us have a pipe that we can use to take that bill inside the parliament. Tabled, debated, as we watch, as we monitor, as we keenly look at what are they discussing. Are they passing the bills, or are they being corrupted in one way or the other? But with all that, it is us now to drive these bills, not even the MPs. We should only hand them over to them. This is a bill on EACC. EACC should be given prosecutorial powers. Those powers are taken by who? One member of parliament, who is who has integrity. We all know them.
Please finish.
Those who don't have. So I wish to submit that, so that let us not continue saying that we should attack the driver. Let us look at the vehicle. The vehicle has issues. Someone is steering even the wheel. Those who are steering the wheels, where are they? Let us be arrested. Even the one who is arresting should be checked. Is he arresting the right person? I saw the other day someone saying that they had arrested mistakenly one of the guy, the journalist. Even the one who is arresting should be checked whether he is arresting the right people, or we are only there commenting. We should, as we go for to occupy, let us occupy the right places with a bill in our hands. Take it there, get up an MP, give it to him, tell him this institution should be done this and this and this. Thank you so much, Wanyama, and I thank you.
Asante sana Kingori, and you've highlighted a key thing when we speak about all these items. Simba, I see you've unmute again. Are you able to speak? Okay, iko shida hapo hivyo. JM, before I come finally to the last speaker before Kate. JM?
Unajua can you hear me, Wanyama? Again, thank you for the great work you're doing. You're Afrocentric, and I do appreciate it. In my 3 minutes, I don't want to make my personal submission because it's completely a cry. I have absolutely no idea what is happening right now. Let me go to Anthony Morathi, his submission that I don't think quite a number of us paid attention to. I don't know Anthony Morathi, by the way, just for full disclosure. It has nothing to do with me. He raised something that is fundamental that I would be interested in, that we pay attention to how we bring the international community into the movement. I know we are going around talking about presenting many things and everything, and that's okay, by the way. Nobody's wrong in this. It's just the way we're doing. But what is going to have the big impact? Mahali tumefika, and Wanyama, you've done a lot These guys have done a lot. All of you have done a lot. Sasa tumefika mahali where we are being boxed into two things. And I'm going to redefine them. And when my time is up, please tell me and I will stop. We are being told that we have an end game. That if this is achieved, then we stop. Freak Jesus, that's not even what's happening here. So we don't have a situation where that this is an end game that the movement is looking for. The movement is looking for an extremely good governance and better Kenya. I don't even know how much time we can confess that, communicate that, tell people about that. So the fact that you wake up one day and give us a cabinet and you tell us that you have achieved what these people have been agitating for, you have freaking no idea. You don't hear, and if you hear, you don't understand. What we are talking about is a complete change of where we are as a country, change of governance, and what we are heading to. So that I don't go into my agitation, because I've always been very, animated in my submissions. Let me say this. I want to ask you, Wanyama, whether we're gonna have to meet outside of the space, and of course with the, Ayo, of course, good friend, and all this. Let's talk about how do we bring a focus of the dangers we are facing in the Kenyan system to the international community, so that when it comes to a time of us going to maybe not occupy State House, because I'm yet to get into that, maybe go occupy Huru Park, and we get into billions of
Malizia again.
people. Oh, can you hear me? Oh, shoot. Did I lose everybody? Can you hear me,
No.
Wanyama?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm just saying, please finish up before we go to the next speaker.
Oh, shoot. Okay. Sorry. I guess my time is. I just want to make another point, but shoot.
You can
I'll
make the
probably,
point in a
if I get
minute. Do not lose your trail of thought. Make it in a minute. I still believe you can communicate.
okay,
This is a
okay.
space
So
for the
let me
people.
try that.
So,
So
yeah.
what I'm saying is that one of the things that I completely, and I actually left my own presentation, and I wanted to endorse what Anthony Moretti was talking about, is that we can bring an international community, and we know how to do that. I mean, Wanyama, you're not new to this. We say occupy, whether it's Huru Park. We bring people into this. We speak what exactly are the issues. And obviously, the issues are corruption. Nilisikiza Ruto's speech, the entire thing, prior to introduction of, I almost freaked out. Like, prior to introducing the 11 members, guys, this was the most annoying thing I've ever listened to. He spoke to what he thinks is the problem, and not we have told him is the problem. If any of you think I'm lying, go back and listen to it. Go back, listen to it. We are intellectuals. We go back and listen to it. I've been through this system from 2022 or 2002 of the Kibakis and all that. So, friends, go listen to Ruto's speech. Do you know what he did? He replicated one thing that I have to tell you. When Kibaki was cornered, he said, I'm going to do my half of the cabinet, and then I go back to negotiate with the other party. You guys did catch that. So I have to tell you that this is what exactly happened. Replica. And then he actually, say that I'm now doing a broad-based negotiation with other political parties. So he said that this thing is all political. And then who the freaking world I don't want to use the bad word here because I'm a preacher for many times. Who the world is
Okay,
really
James,
referring to? Right.
maliza,
Okay.
kindly.
Back to you, Wanyama. But I'm gonna tell you that let's have a simplistic way of getting the international community involved in this. And then let's tell Ruto that yes, your speech was a speech that was based on what is in your head and not what is in the public domain. Thank you. I apologize for taking longer than I should have taken or was allocated, but God bless. And I will yield and probably.
Thank you. Asante sana,
I'll
asante
go
sana.
back.
God bless you too. God bless you too. Keith, hii mic ni moto na kupitishia bana. Ongea kitu ya maana, Keith. Keith, if you can hear me.
Yeah, thank you so much. I can get you. How are you, Wanyama?
Doing well.
Okay, thank you so much. So chapter 6 of Article 75 of the Kenyan Constitution says that once someone is dismissed from holding a public office in the government, they're not supposed to be to hold any space in the state. So our lawyers, I kindly ask you guys to take these matters to your hands, because this CS Kindiki, he was in office when people were being killed by the police. The police were killing the innocent protesters without any cause. And then Duale, he was also in the office and he deployed the KDF to innocent protesters. And now we can see they're being recycled. So let me start by saying our lawyers, the Law Society of Kenya, kindly take these matters to the court, and we need to see some changes. Then when we say occupy everywhere, we're just wasting time, because we're going to get scattered and the police are going to get even more powerful. So we need to counter them by, having a precise destination. Sorry?
Continue, Keith.
By having a precise destination for success, just like what we did in the parliament. You see, everyone occupied parliament, and that's why we were successful. Everyone came in large numbers. See how that some people were occupying the, Uhuru Park. Some people, everyone occupied parliament. So we need a precise destination so that these guys will not get powerful by scattering us. Ruto was among the guys that were opposing the amendment of the constitution. So we cannot expect this guy to respect the constitution, and that's why he's appointing these other guys without respecting the constitution. This constitution is against that, and we've seen this guy disrespecting the constitution for a very long time, and he's done it regardless. So we need to, be woke, because Ruto, any slight chance this guy gets, is going to interfere with the constitution of Kenya, and that's what is, that's what is protecting us as Kenyans. So any slight chance this guy gets, aenda kuharibu the constitution. So to sympathy any chance to, revoke this thing. Then Ruto has now started to plan for 2027. And that's why we can see we are getting troubles to, access our IDs. We applied for IDs in 8 months ago. We've not received our IDs up to now. So this guy, and then now we are seeing Ameleta Davis Chirchir in the office. Davis Chirchir is an IT expert. We can remember in 2017, 2022, Alisaidiana kuiba, the election, and 2017 Pia. So Ruto knows what he's doing. That's why he is insisting in bringing back these guys. How can you bring Duale back? The guy that deployed KDF, Kindiki, Akina Wahome, it's not making sense. So this guy knows what he's doing, and he's just telling us, fuck you guys, fuck you, because there's nothing we can do. He believes there's nothing that we can do, but we as Kenyans, we know there is something we can do. We are the sovereigns under Article 1 of the Kenyan Constitution. So we have the power and the mandate. Then another thing, cover-ups are still there. They're still being done in hospitals. Police are still being protected by the government. People are being killed. The police by the police. Then they claim it's an accident. And if I just said niliona kwa X that mtu alimtumia the text that someone texted the doctor to interfere with Kenya with to atoe the cause of death ya mtu. This guy was shot with a bullet, but someone texted the doctor aseme it's an accident. So these guys are being protected, and that's why you can see they believe to be so powerful. They keep killing us because they know they're going to be protected by the government. They are not going to be held accountable. That's why we saw Baraza saying that this Muragiri, this guy that the killer cop, that akipelekwa kwa jela is going to pay for him to get to be freed. So these guys are being protected, and that's why wako na kiburi. So guys, we need to occupy one specific place and tell these guys that we're not joking with them. Personally, I'm so annoyed. I was just drinking some water, but my anger imezidi tena. So guys, we need to occupy one specific place. Kama ni JKIA, tuende JKIA. Then kama ni Huduma Center, because we need our IDs. 2027 is going, in case we survive this revolution, because in the previous election, the youths, we didn't vote. We didn't have our IDs. Now they're still holding our IDs. We need our IDs. Kama tuna after JKIA, we need to occupy Huduma Center. We need to get our IDs back. Thank you so much. I'm really annoyed. Wanyama, can you get me?
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm trying to get back to the co-host so that I can accept more speakers into the panel. Asante sana Keith, and you elaborated well on that. Nataka kusema hivi, as much as we are having technical issues at the moment, we want to be in a position where, one, we are not really afraid of contrary opinion, that is to the movement, and the movement is Ruto must go at the moment. And second, I really need your help, and the help is, let us be active in the ways that matter a lot. You attending spaces matters, and I'm so thankful to everyone that makes time and also buys their internet, creates reminders, etc., etc. They've turned on notifications. Thank you for that. But we need to step a little bit further, and that is the way we are going to keep this thing alive. One is the hashtag that we want to make history with it. We have already made history, but we need to make further history. That's Ruto must go hashtag. We are working with the algorithm. Let me explain why this thing is important. There's a way X algorithm works. If you tweet anything with just the hashtag, it's counted as spam. So that's why we encourage you to put something before you put Ruto must go. Second is, we are actively asking you to retweet the spaces, get it in front of many people as possible, because these, only in such a manner, irrespective of the number of followers, the algorithm is going to pick it up and broadcast it to many people as well who join the spaces. The other thing is, we are asking you to, the people that you follow and you do not agree with them. Many people have given different types of opinions on that, micro-influencers and influencers. Some of us are still on the path of growth. We'll get there sometime, but yeah, we are thankful of the people that follow us. So we are asking you to, one, if it's not giving you peace, please block, because mental health imekuwa shida sana imwezi. If it's something that you can handle, please respond and tell them what your truth is. And if they have a very huge following, use that type of access to broadcast what your message is. Your message is Ruto must go. Put it in the comments if you're able to handle it. Kama muwezi kabisa, you can also decide to deplatform them, as other people have been proposing as well, and follow. You always have the choice to unfollow. The reason why we stand against gain trains is it destroys the quality of the account. If you do follow back, blah, 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 those things destroy the quality of the account. Not because these accounts are like the final jewel that we want to protect. No, it's because if we want to communicate effectively and to the high quality people that we have around us, then we have to maintain the quality of the accounts. These spaces are attended by different professionals, and thankfully, what tunaona huku, lawyers, our learned friends, Dr. Ikuru Kot was here earlier in the morning. Lawyer friends attend here. They come give us their legal opinion. My request to them, even LSK, the LSK board members have been here, the KSL President Ochea has been here, etc., etc. Lawyers have always been consistent with us in these spaces. We've hosted spaces with Daktaris, especially when we were doing Occupy MOH. Maskela, the KPMDU person, was here as well, speaking different things that are affecting doctors as well. As much as we do not agree at times with that body, we have to agree that the only way is they are not the enemy. We have to move forward together. So we bring them on board as well. And we try and combine the spaces as well. That is Afrocentric spaces. I come and co-host in them. He comes to mine and also co-host. We also have KOT. We have different, that is Sonko 254. He hosts spaces daily. if not daily, I don't know. He has been on it. We have also been hosting spaces. The reason why we combine is because we want to bring you, it's not about us getting new heights of numbers, etc., etc. We bring you a consolidated quality of spaces. That's why we combine, because this thing is selfless. It's not about who gains, who does not gain. We bring you the best of all of us. It's not easy to manage these spaces, but we want to keep the conversation going. And as I wait for Afrocentric, these guys have been awake the whole night, Afrocentric and Ayo, so maybe he might be asleep. I want to keep the conversation going, and I think I'll just do with the speakers that I have right now. I'm trying to call Afro and see if I can get into the co-host panel. So msichoke for retreating the space, etc., etc. I want to keep the conversation going. Now, the reason why I am so insistent on these spaces is I want to speak about the silent majority and the speakers who are here on the panel. I want a guided conversation as we wait. The silent majority ni wale our parents, wale our friends who don't really have access to Twitter or TikTok or YouTube or so any other type of social media. They are the majority, whether we like it or not. Twitter is still not the number one accessed platform in Kenya, let alone Africa. So this silent majority, for the speakers who are here, how do you think, or not think, give me options on how we are going to reach out to them? And I'll start with King Ori.
Yes, thank you, Wanyama. We can have our issues that we are discussing here need to be placed on various media. The mainstream media also need to capture them. The radio and everywhere. We need to have a channel from the X Space, Facebook, and other social media platforms to mainstream media. We also need the posters. I have seen so many posters. I'm forwarding them, and I think most of those who are not in Twitter can get them in the Facebook, WhatsApp. So people are good in forwarding. Kenyans are very good in disseminating information. At the same time, we can have now we are saying we are leaderless, but in one way or the other, there must be somebody who is keying in the needs of the youth, the demands, the grievances, and being posted to various platforms. The leaders, the parliament should also be given copies of those demands, so that as they drive the agenda of the parliament, they are aware that they have been given a copy. Even that meeting from the Uhuru Park, they need to be invited. They are given copies, and then they go to the National Assembly, to the Parliament, because you may not be allowed to get there if you are not a member of Parliament. So we also need to use them for the time they are there, as we wait for the most difficult situation that maybe they can happen, the solution of Parliament, and as we also discuss that Ruto must go, which might be very difficult in my opinion. We also need, that's why we need to come up with the new ways of making sure that the as I said, the citizen-driven bills are very important. Even in Uganda, there is citizen arrest. When someone is engaged in scandals, in corruption activities, crimes, the huge economic crimes, they are arrested by the citizens. and then they are presented to the police, and the human rights activists and all the interested parties are able to progress with the case. So we need to bring power back to people by coming up with initiatives that the leaders do not have, because those ones are held hostage by the executive. So we don't need to although we have very independent minds, few of them who are very independent. Like when we pick like someone like a Saboti member of parliament, that is Caleb Amisi. Is one person I have seen very independent. We have some member of parliament like Otiendo Omolo can be given the bills and they go with them. So we need to continue the conversation. At the same time, look for the link. A link in the parliament. We need a link in the judiciary. We need links so that we can channel. Water cannot get to the bucket if there's no pipe. So thank you.
Very key, very key. We will, I think yours resonates with the part of this is a marathon, not a sprint. Keith, I see your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I think what we can do in our communities, there are a lot of groups. So we can organize community meetings and workshops. So we can simply just tell our parents to come in meetings, groups. We discuss about the arising matters that are happening in Kenya, so that they get informed. Because most of our parents, they don't have the social media, the WhatsApp. They're not informed that much. So we need to organize these communities, our chiefs, the local people. They can organize groups where they can discuss. They can tell them that this is what is happening. Then they can give them the key stats of what is happening. Then we can also also organize town hall meetings, like discussions where they voice their concerns and learn. Some of them are not learning. I'm sorry to say this, but some of them are not that learning. That's why they keep on rejecting what is being brought to them. That's why we see they keep saying we need to get patient. We need to give these guys time to do whatever they're doing. So we need to organize key meetings and teach them on whatever is happening. Then we also need to conduct workshops on their civic rights and the importance of getting involved in the matters concerning the country. So we need to teach them on their rights. Most of them they are not sure of their rights. They need to get informed and told that this is what has been happening. This is what you need to be doing. You need to get your IDs. You need to let your children register for IDs to address the safety and concerning issues. We can also get debates. We can organize discussions and debates where groups foster cultural and the inquiry analysis. So we need to analyze whatever has been going on as we foster on the growth of our communities, because most of our communities there is no growth. So we need to tell them that this is someone who gave the job and is not done this as expected. So what are we supposed to be doing? At the end of the day, they're going to learn that honestly, whatever you guys have been telling us, we are seeing them now. We are seeing that this guy has not been doing what his objective is. So I think that's all I wanted to add.
Keith, you seem quite articulated with these things, and I'm liking it. And just as people were speaking, I've decided to create a WhatsApp channel. I think enough of the talk. I think let's walk the talk. I've created that channel. It's called Kenya County News, the WhatsApp channel, and I've put it on the Jumbotron. You can also check my profile, guys. Go and follow that channel. Just click on that link. It's a WhatsApp channel. As I keep engaging other people who've been managing WhatsApp groups, etc., that will be like the official way. Let's take this information to the counties. Let's take this to our mothers. Let's know what is happening in the different counties. And I'll try my best to bring in different types of volunteers, etc., to that channel as well. The thing with channels is you can get information And I think we are going to put this to as many volunteers as possible as well to get into it and bring us very valid information, posters that you'll send to our parents, friends, etc. Personally, I don't believe in the thing of having a WhatsApp group where thousands and thousands of messages are going through it. So something is lost. Not everyone has not even everyone, majority do not have the patience and time to pass through every message. So if you're here, as we said, this is digital activism, and we have to take it to the heights that are needed, because tumekuwa tukisema tunapelekaje wazazi wetu this message, tunapelekaje our friends who are not on X, they don't even know how to use the interface of X or Twitter. Let us take it to WhatsApp. And please, just click on that link. I've called it Kenya County News because we need to take it to the counties. Let's go there. Whether it's national talk or not, it needs to get to the level of the counties. Let us go. Bana, technology ni sisi millennial, young millennials, etc. and Gen Zs. Sisi tu ndio we can beat them at this. So please, click on that Kenya County News. Do not worry about the logo, etc., etc. Just click on that link and follow it. It's a WhatsApp channel. We will keep managing it. I'll get more volunteers. I promise that. Even graphic designers, etc. Thank you for the DMs. For different people already, man, you guys are amazing. People are just already DMing, just asking how they can help, how they can move this forward, especially on the WhatsApp. Continue. Zileteni, mimi uzisoma, na kina Afro, kina yo, we will pass through this as well and bring you the best. My journalist friends, if you're here, you are the people who also hold a very key part of this. Very, very key part of this. Tafadhalini, get in contact. Now Itaji, please get in contact and supply this. Your people, the people that listen to you, you are doing a good job, but the traditional media is not going to handle this for the long run like we are going to do. So journalists, tafadhalini. For volunteer, please, kujeni. Naomba tafadhali kujeni. Just DM me. We will work something out. But in the meantime, please retweet that Kenya County News channel, WhatsApp channel. Na muimbe about it. Ask other influencers as well to join it, the ones for the cause. Let's build the numbers and followership. Dennis Lawezi.
Wanyama, as I finish, thank you so much for the space. I'm afraid I have to leave, but yeah, I'll still rejoin. Kuna mbali naenda, but thank you so much.
Asante sana Keith. Na muendelee. Hiyo WhatsApp group tafadhali join. Dennis seems to be. Dennis, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Wanyama.
Aya, tuendelee mbele na discussion as we wait for the host to give us what is it called? The rights, the co-host rights. Endelea mbele. We are talking about how do we get to the silent majority.
I would say, okay, thank you very much. My point on the silent majority, especially our parents, is, first of all, I would echo the previous speaker. Then I would add on for the primary way of getting to them, enlightening them, is by, you see, these are our parents. Most of Gen Zs, these are our parents, we live with them. So the first step is to talk to them. I would give you an example. After the financial bill was dropped, very many parents were telling Gen Zs, now, please, can you calm down? Give him time. We see he has dropped the bill, because they are not aware. They are not aware of what people are asking. They see financial bill drop. They think it is only about financial bill. So you need to tell them there is so many things to talk about in this country. There is a lot of rot, corruption, everything. And this now, most of them, you need to talk to your parents day by day, telling them why we are on the streets. And by so doing this, for me, this is a primary method we can apply on that matter. Can I continue on other issues, or we are first discussing that one?
Continue for a minute or two.
Okay, thank you very much. And I request you guys to follow me. I don't have followers. I have like about 155 followers, so I really appreciate. I follow back immediately. So I say, so I would like to, the previous point I had put forward about having like if we decide to occupy, let it be one place. Because somebody has just talked about the Occupy Parliament. It worked. When that time, if you could go to the X space, you would see it was only Occupy Parliament and Occupy Parliament only. And it worked. And I can assure you, after Occupy Parliament, we haven't achieved much. That was the greatest achievement we achieved is in numbers. After that, now things began to be fear came in after military and other things. That's why we need to be united again. We have a common front, and we are going to achieve. Number two, I would also like to contribute a bit about how our country is like it is held hostage by the political class. You can see people said reject finance bill, but what did we witness after it was rejected? You see these people, all of them, starting from the head, the fish rots from the head, starting from the head. He started saying now conditions. It has been dropped with conditions, but that is not what exactly the citizens wanted. This rudeness, the citizens wanted things to run normally, but drop the finance bill. Why? Because the country has money. The money is chiffoned by corrupt leaders. The money, we all know where the money goes. The money is allocated to unnecessary offices and so on. Operating with the previous budget and dropping the finance bill, why are you giving citizens conditions? Can you see the kind of people you are dealing with? You people, that is not what people wanted. You start giving people conditions when people are telling you to check on our expenditure. It is possible to operate within our means, but it doesn't mean you start giving citizens strict conditions. As if you are running the country as if it is a small office. You are a small office, like somebody said here in the space the other day, like a kibanda. You can close when you want. You tell the citizens the way you want, even if that is not what they are asking for. It is very unfortunate. For example, I will tell you another case. Personally, people are saying when chief is dropped, we go back to NHIF. But people are forgetting in the same NHIF, for example, there is a lot of corruption there. A lot. For example, one day I went to Kenyatta a very long time ago. We young people, thank God we are educated and we understand these things. When I went to Kenyatta Hospital, I was paying NHIF and I happened to ask one medic if I can be treated. And the response she gave me was very provocative. She told me, no, NHIF is for civil servants. Imagine, she could have even have used other language. I got provoked and I asked her, are you serious? KNHF is for civil servants. Are they the ones who pay tax? That is the question I asked her. Because I was very angry with that response. Are they the ones who pay tax? So NHIF, apart from all it is schemed to make sure the common citizens do not access healthcare, even if you pay that insurance fund. How? First of all, they have some funny conditions that you must choose a hospital. I'm paying health insurance fund. Again, this is a government scheme, which we should even access healthcare without even paying for that insurance. And then you have to choose hospital. You are in Kajiado. It is a way of denying you access to healthcare, which is provided in the constitution. And you need also to amplify this and get this across to the lawyers. Because that I find it very it is mockery to tell people if you have to choose a hospital. And then you cannot choose that Kenyatta National Hospital. But then when I went to be treated there, the doctor, that is what the doctor had to say. The doctor told me KNH is for civil servants. I want to ask you for sure. Is it civil servants who pay tax in this country? Is it civil servants? Are you serious? Is it only civil servants? I asked her that question. I was very angry. If Kenyatta National Hospital is excluded for choosing as a hospital, and even we should not have that discussion of choosing hospitals. I mean, we should access healthcare free. Now you are even paying insurance fund. Then they are putting conditions to make sure citizens does not get healthcare, which is written in the constitution. It is a right for the Kenyan citizens. Like, I do not understand the kind of country we are living in. This is something people are forgetting when they are saying we go back to NHIF. But even the NHIF itself, there are a lot of reforms that need to be done. Believe me, So that is one of the experience that I had with NHIF, and we need. So for me, I even actually stopped paying NHIF. So the other one is I would like to echo those people who are said we should not wait for 2027. I want to tell you guys, anyone who come to this space to tell you we wait for 2027 for elections, to tell you you take your ID. Yes, we should of course apply for voters card and ID cards, but let us finish this mission. The person who tells you 2027, he does not understand Ruto. I want to tell you the truth. This is a little devil himself. First of all, the damage in 3 years that this person will do to the country, it will be almost impossible to recover. I want to tell you that this Ruto, in 2.5 years or 2 years that they have been in office, as someone said, you cannot even spot a toilet. You cannot spot a toilet. And every day, this guy wakes up. It is a government of Tukona plan. Tukona plan today, Tukona plan tomorrow. The 5th year, the same guy will be telling you Tukona plan. You cannot even spot a toilet even after 5 years. You borrow 1.2 trillion within, I saw the last how many days. You steal all of it. Then you go to the people, you tell them, by next year, you'll be having ICT hub in every ward. My friend, and year ends. You go to the public again, you tell them, you go at the borrow like 2 trillion, you come and tell them by next year. So what are we talking about, guys? Next year, 5 years will end, and the narrative at the 4th year will be by next year, we will be having an IT hub in every ward. Trust me. So you can imagine so far, almost halfway, the kind of damage these guys have done to the country. You cannot spot even a toilet. All promises every year. So after this year, you tell you the same things. And the people, our parents and other people, as you are saying, we need really to enlighten them. They are still telling you, you give them some time. That is the damage I'm talking about. The second thing, that is one thing he will do. The second thing, and I want you guys to listen. This guy, he will make sure there is no way you can remove him from office. Those are 2 things which are going to happen. There is no way you can wait for 2027 unless you want us to lose the country forever. We will never have this country back again. That's what I have to tell you. We will never, and it can never happen if this is the only chance. And believe me, he never saw Gen Z coming. He never saw this movement coming. Otherwise, he is a strategist. If he ever saw this one coming, he would have blocked it. He is a strategist. He is a very wicked crook. I think some of you who were able to take history, they know about Hitler. This guy is a very wicked crook, is a very wicked dictator. If he was able to see Gen Z coming, this movement coming, he would have been able to block it. In the same way, my friend, this guy, everyone telling you 2027, this is a distractor who has been sent by the same regime to distract you, to distract us. You believe that is the truth, I know. Because it is a strategy to buy time. Just like the way, you see the way you know how to buy time. This guy came and said he has dismissed CS. Very many people here are thinking that way, that it was buying time, because some people, a large number of people cooled down. A large number of people cooled down, and that one you can observe. But now I'm very happy. The rage is coming back originally, like the way we did before the finance bill was dropped, because people have seen it is a game. Like they think like the country belongs to the political class, whereas we know the country belongs to the 56 or 54 or 56 million people. We cannot be having a country which about 100,000 people owns the country. The 52 or 53 point something million are sufferers. There is nothing like that. We cannot in 21st century. It is a joke. Okay, somebody comes here. I want to tell you something. Somebody comes here and tells you, please stop this protest. You will ban the country. I want to ask you, everyone who is here, which country is there? Which country is there? These guys have burnt the country, all of it, by looting and corruption. And they are asking you not to ban. Which country? Which country are they asking you not to ban? Okay, I'm not saying we'll be violent, but which country is left? Which country? They are telling you, please stop this protest. We continue with exploitation. Who is against that? That is the truth. They are saying, please stop this protest. That is the message. Please stop this protest. We continue with exploitation. That is the message. It is not we will ban our country. As somebody said, we are being compared with Sudan. Since when? demanding accountability. Since when demanding accountability was compared to Sudan? Since when demanding accountability was compared to Sudan? What are these jokes? What are these jokes we are seeing circulating? And some people are buying. Don't buy. Don't subscribe to such jokes. Demanding accountability. How can you compare demanding accountability to Sudan? Is that not a joke? That is a pure joke. So I want to say this is a chance. The guy is trembling, as Miguna says, and he knows he's applying all the strategy to kill the movement. When this movement dies, there will be no other chance, whether for Gen Zs, whether millennials, whether all the Kenyan citizens, it will not come. This guy will make sure. The way Gen Zs came without him seeing them, being told that the protests are being imported, Photoshop from somewhere. The Gen Zs came without him seeing. If this one dies, the guy is a strategist, and he will ensure there will be no other threat to him of that magnitude. There will be no other threat of that magnitude to the political class, which you can see already. These guys are starting camping together because they know. For example, all these things we talk about of scandals. Raila Odinga, to say the least.
Just a second, Dennis, before you continue.
Yes,
It's okay. You're having a very good submission, and I don't want you to drop yet. Guys, I've put that tweet on the Jumbotron, and thank you to everyone. I'm getting amazing DMs as well. We said let's be active, people. There is 1,000 and something, 1,000, almost 1,300 listeners here. There is a tweet on the Jumbotron here about the WhatsApp channel that we've created. I've created a channel because it accommodates more people, up to above of 5,000. We are going to even pay WhatsApp at some point to get premium features of WhatsApp channel. Please retweet that tweet that I put on the Jumbotron. If you can't see it, please go to my profile and scroll down. It's the second tweet after my pinned tweet. A pinned tweet is the one that is fixed at the top about a prayer or a poem. That's the one I've pinned on my profile. The second tweet, please retweet it. It's also pinned here on the Jumbotron. Please, I'm asking you, go retweet it. And even if before you even retweet, click on that WhatsApp link and join that channel. We'll be sharing. I want in an hour or two, I want us to also be posting the missing persons in the WhatsApp group. So please just go join it. Also circulate it on your WhatsApp. I see 100. This is amazing. We're already at 100 followers on the WhatsApp channel. Take the link, forward it to our uncles, our mothers, etc., etc. Ask them to join. We are taking it to WhatsApp. We are taking the movement to WhatsApp. Let it be known that we are taking it to greater heights because we believe the silent majority are going to make a difference. The reason why they are not making changes is because of we've been sleeping on proper communication. Na tunaipeleka huko pali wako. Now WhatsApp, see, it's not the only app. We'll even go to Telegram, etc., etc. But first, I believe in us moving strategically. And first, let's go to where? WhatsApp. So it's Kenya County News because we want information from mashinani. So the 1,000 of you, let me see, imefika ngapi before I bring in Dennis again. Niwaambie, imefika ngapi? 162. Tuendelee. By the time Dennis is done, let it be at least 500 followers. Tuendelee kutafuta watu wetu in a very simplified manner. I know some things can be lost here on the TL, but on WhatsApp, we will be doing the proper thing. So endelea kufollow. If you cannot see the link, please ask me or DM me. I will send you the link ASAP. I have opened my DMs. It doesn't matter whether you're verified or not. You can send me a message. Let's keep the conversation going. And I'm trying to get Afrocentric to send me the mic. I mean, to give me the cost powers. If that is not possible, I'm going to communicate what you are going to do. Thank you. Dennis.
Okay, thank you very much.
Tulete Redemptor pia ongee.
Thank you, Wanyama. So I want to say the next point I would put forward is about peaceful protests. I want you guys to look it from this angle. Uh, Gen Zs at this movement, most of them, like almost everyone, is peaceful. Everyone actually. But now we are dealing with a government which is ready to pay, even to pay goons, which is doing not today, which is paying goons, and it's out there in the public domain. Everyone knows it is true, and pay goons to come and disrupt these peaceful demonstrations. That's number one. Number two, on the same point, we are dealing with people, a regime which does not obey constitution. So we have a very, very, very big challenge ahead of us. Like, surely, how are we going to achieve this through peaceful protest with a regime which does not respect even life, which does not respect our constitution? It is going to be very difficult, but there is a way. There is a way of achieving it, and the only way to achieve it is numbers. I think I join most of these spaces, but it's like all of them. Every time I join spaces, every time I'm free. And like Miguna said, and it is true, it is only, even if they are disobeying the constitution, it is only by numbers. It is only by numbers that we can bring this down, this regime, even if they are doing it. And therefore, if we are not going to have numbers, it is totally impossible to fight someone who is not obeying constitution, who is shooting peaceful protesters. How is it going to work? It cannot work. It is numbers. And how can we achieve these numbers? You see, as I said, remember the time of Occupy Parliament. It was only, even when you go to X Space, it was only Occupy Parliament. And that's why everyone was not distracted. They knew it is Occupy Parliament, tomorrow is Occupy Parliament. But now what do you see? You see people saying today, the same day we are occupying somewhere, the people, the same day you hear, this place called Kangemi, are they demonstrating? No. Why are you demonstrating in Kangemi, surely? What are we doing? We are losing. What are you doing in Kagemi? If we are occupying Uhuru Park, please let those guys come from Kagemi. What are they doing in Kagemi? We lose. Very many people will be killed. That is a small group. Another small group is or Kayole is another side. Now, police, they find it so easy. They are just laughing at us, killing us, abducting us. Let us pull numbers. Number two, on the same. You observe that when we are demonstrating, very many counties are very active. Very active. So now we have started to plan how can these people come? How can we pull these people? We finish. They have issues with the county government. Every government is rotten. All of the 47 county governments are rotten, plus the national government. And we understand it. But it is a collective problem of all the Kenyans. So how can we centralize this process? We deal with one issue at a time. It will take less than 2 days to bring down the national government. If those guys I saw demonstrating, all those across the country, they can agree
All right. Welcome back to another beautiful episode of Obina Show Live. We are really, really, really grateful and we are humbled to have your presence on this show. Thank you so much for subscribing and thank you for creating time to watch and thank you for buying bundles. Okay, tumejua ni wifi ya jirani, but yeah, you get the point. So asanteni sana. Of course, this platform, motivational conversation, inspirational conversation, and sometimes like today, we'll have a couple of intriguing conversations because of the matter at hand. The country imeshikwa kwa balls. Okay, I tried to look for a better word to put it, but it is what it is, man. It is what it is. So asanteni sana, karibuni. The gentleman I'm hosting on this platform today, I like him a lot. The reason is this. One, he's very passionate about what he does, which is music. I've seen a couple of clips of him in action. I'm like, yo, I'm seeing Elvis Presley right here. The vibe that is over here. I'm seeing Michael Jackson. Mama say, Marcus. I'm seeing the vibe. You look at someone perform, you're like, wow, I want to be that guy. Then the way he dresses, you guys know me. When someone dresses amazing, I sit them down, tell them, yo, show me your ways, master. He has a specific style of dressing, of which I'll find out which it is, but it looks dope. Yona Burale, wanapelekana hapa. Okay? Then also, Juicy, when we were rejecting the finance bill, he was, let me say, was pivotal in the whole execution of the way it happened. He was among the key people. Wale shine kwa the whole thing to go like, oh, we look at this face. Inaweza kaka ile face ya ni Che Guevara ama ni Che Guevara ama how do you say it? Inaweza kaka flag hiyo nywele yake nini inaweza ketomboya vibe. Ya kuna pia hiyo. And he has the most Luo name. Wanasema after Miguna. It's called Makoure. Kasamuel Makoure, ladies and gentlemen.
Makoure,
it's Kasamuel. Kasmuel.
Yes, Kasmuel Makoure.
So say Kasamuel. Where's the K? Muchange yo. Why do people say Kasamuel?
I don't know. I think it's just banter.
Oh, so it's Kasmuel.
Kasmuel Makoure, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
It has a meaning.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a name of like a freedom fighter in Djibouti.
That's my grandfather. Wengine wakiachiwa land and money, mimi niliachiwa jina, akasema Yathina, I bequeath this upon you. Take this, go and conquer them. Give me a name that instills fear in my enemy's eyes.
Ujana, when you want to party, I'm saying you get knighted.
Yes.
Samuel Makoure, you shall grow to have an afro.
Correct.
You shall grow to Pigaluku because I don't have no land.
Correct.